off for him, and then the next fish hooked. He landed it. And I was like, I think it was your
All right. I think so. Now I can see the little dots here going. So it looks like they should be able to hear us.
Can y'all hear us now? Can y'all hear us now?
Jacob, text me if you hear me.
There's no one here watching this yet. So this is I just went live again. So again and again and again. So
Jacob.
But yeah, it was definitely me making these errors with the knots. So we got Jake. I think that might be Jacob that might just tune in. So this latest one is the right one, and apologize about having to go back and forth and messing around with this. I've been trying to get this, and every time I do
Jacob tuned in.
Yeah, we got one person. Maybe it's
I
Jacob.
got a text message.
Yeah. So
what do you say?
He's working. Someone from Jacob right now.
Yeah. Actually, I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you, but hopefully he can hear us. So we'll wait here a few more minutes here. And but yeah, every time I set this up and take it off, so this is I use this laptop for editing videos and doing different things. So I'm always disconnecting it and reconnecting it, and I'm always I got like a whole bunch of different gear, and I'm constantly trying to incorporate it all into it. And every time I get something new and play with it. Now I got these boxes coming out on our face, but so the camera is a better view. It's not as blurry or busy, but now it's just like it's a target now on us. So we'll figure out how to get that out for the next one. So, but yeah, so basically we'll go ahead and get started here, and then we'll let people tune in. If they're going to tune in, they're probably frustrated, gave up on us already with all the back and forth going on here.
Jacob's a trooper.
Jacob's a trooper. That might be Jacob right there. I think Jacob is determined. So right around 2 minutes. So it took him. He
was ready.
He was ready to go. He was the first one on. So thanks, Jacob, for now he says you can hear us. So good job. All right. So this is the Art of Fishing podcast show. So it basically we're going to be recording these shows here on YouTube live, and then we'll edit them and put them up on a podcast. So right now we've got 3 recorded episodes. We're still in the process of editing those, and then we'll upload them. And basically when we go to the podcast, we'll have 4 or 5 of those shows. And then this is the live part of it. So like what we did on the first episode, it was a 2-hour 2-hour session, and then we were able to edit it down to about 30 minutes, something like that.
It felt like 30 minutes.
You cut out all the BS.
Yeah, there was a lot of BS. It was actually like a lot of the same things.
This is what matters.
Yeah. But it was a lot of the same kind of stuff, right? Like messing around initially the first 10-15 minutes in here. So this time we actually already cut that. So we started off at 2 minutes. So less of that. But basically,
getting our shit together. Slowly but surely.
It's going.
So it's little by little. Next time, I'm sure we'll have some more problems in getting started too. But yeah, this is the Art of Fishing podcast show, and it's brought to you guys by Apollo Fishing. And basically, what we're going to try to have weekly shows is what I'm targeting. Right, still trying to figure out what the actual time frame is, but Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays, whatever it turns out to be. But one show a week where we talk to people who are passionate about fishing and have some sort of experience in there, and we talk about very specific topics of the day. So today we're going to actually be talking about wade fishing. So I know everybody in this room, including our guest, is
looks like he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready. So yeah, so definitely we're going to be talking about wade fishing. You guys have a lot of experience. I've actually I thought I knew how to wade fish until I started fishing with some of you guys out here. There's like, man, I learned a lot in the last 2 years about wade fishing. And
Sam thought it was weight fishing.
Yeah.
What am I waiting for? Right?
Sam,
come with us.
Follow. Yeah. So definitely, I learned a lot in the last 2 years while I've been really improving my fishing game. And again, I thought I knew what I was doing until
you're knots.
And I'm my knots. Yeah. That's an inside joke. I can't tie knots, but
he uses GoPro over his shoes.
Yeah, there's just a little bit
of good stuff, man.
No, this is the good stuff. So this will always stay here, right? So the live interviews will always stay there as a video, and then it'll be another video that's just the sweet stuff, the short stuff, right? So, but today I want to talk to you, talk to our about wade fishing. So actually, same way we start every show. So let's go ahead and start around here with the show.
How's it going, guys? I'm Victor.
All right.
Montgomery.
I'm Ted Venecia.
Okay, so we've got these guys in here.
Oh, wait. Victor Ramos.
All right, guys.
Montgomery
Method. All right. So I mean, wade fishing is so there's so much to it, right? So so let's start off with the basics. So why would someone want to wade fish? So
why not?
Well, it's wet and like it's different. Like people say, like, oh, I get out of a perfectly good boat, and I've heard different things like why wade fish in the first place.
I think just to kind of start it off, is weight fishing is just gonna make you just slow down a little bit. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we're on a boat, and especially here where we fish, that wind's blowing half the time,
Yeah.
and it's you're blowing by fish left and right.
You see them go by
you
you.
see them, yeah.
Yeah.
You're watching
Oh.
them as you're going by, and like, oh, fish, and you just feel like you
You
catch
like it.
one, and then you drift by the whole school by the time you land it and get
Yeah.
on a boat.
Yeah.
So weight fishing is going to cause you to slow down just a little bit. Study the water as you're, just like I said, going on a wade, and I mean, it also you work in a lure a lot different. It gives you
Yes,
opportunity to
you
change
get
the
a-
way you work a lure.
Yeah.
Right on a boat, if you slow that lure down too much, you may only travel 5 or 6 feet by the time you catch it with the boat.
Yeah. You'll catch a bunch of grass.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're weight fishing, you can, different kind of cast, presentation, slow down, speed it up.
You're a lot
And it
more
gives
in
you the
control.
opportunity to-
You're a lot more in
Yeah.
touch with your lure.
Yep.
I think one of the reasons why I like to wade fish is it becomes a one-on-one. It's you and the fish. It's you and whatever's in front of you. On a
Yeah.
boat, like you said, you got that drift coin.
You ain't got to
So
worry
you-
about talking to people. Or,
Correct. Yeah. You get away with that.
I've solved a lot
You
of
gotta worry
those
about someone
problems while
parking
I'm-
a rod up
while
on
I'm
the
You're
side.
like,
sailing.
hey, can I have some lures? You wait faster.
Yeah. And then you just turn around and start going that way.
Yeah. But yeah, man, weight fishing absolutely it's a slow down process. It's more on a one-on-one basis. It's you walking the water, working your way up, and then just fighting
Yeah.
that fish at to me it's fighting that fish at the fish level, at your waist level, at your knee
Yep.
level. It's a lot different from fighting it from a tower, or it's like when you're talking to a kid, you want to kind of go to their level. And to me, that's what weight fishing does. You come down to a fish and you fight it, and it's a different type of fight.
You kind of get in their environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You're at
feeling
their
the
home.
bottom, you're feeling the water. You get a lot more information, that you're able to process when you're out there. Like he was saying, it's just you and the fish, and you're able to kind of just, at least that's how I feel about it. You're able to kind of just hone in a little more and pay attention to what's going on, because you've been out there sometimes and you're drifting through mullet going crazy. And I've been walking through mullet going crazy, but every now and again I see a little shrimp jump and, I'll throw on a shrimpy looking color, and that's what they're hitting.
Okay.
They're chasing shrimp and there's mullet everywhere. And you might miss that if you're drifting by it on a boat, or that's not every time, but, and what he said a lot too, you get to slow down a lot. You catch a fish on a boat, you don't stop moving.
Yeah.
I catch a fish when I'm walking, I stop and throw 10 or 15 casts, and a lot of
Yep.
times catch 1, 2, 3, 4 more because they're in that area for a reason,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just random, but yeah.
And not saying you can't catch fish off a drift, because
Correct.
No,
obviously
absolutely.
we've all
We've
done it.
Yep.
We
You
still
know,
do it, yeah.
But you can spend more
Yeah.
time at a certain area instead of saying, well, I'm gonna power pull down and I'm gonna keep on throwing from the boat.
Yeah.
Now you hear that water slapping the boat, and there's a bunch of factors, but you can always catch fish drifting. But just
Yeah.
again, weight is more of a one-on-one. You're on your own. You're there waiting. You feel the water hitting you. You see the mullet.
Yeah.
You might step on a stingray. I mean, who knows?
You definitely see them a lot.
Yeah.
You
Keep-
appreciate you
shuffle your
shuffle
feet.
your feet,
Yeah.
so.
That's
I
rule
think
number one.
another important thing is you also get to learn the water you're fishing, as far as are you hard bottom, soft
Yeah.
bottom. And
Yeah.
I think that's also an important thing that we don't get to find out when you're on a boat,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
learning the bay, it's not just walking it or drifting it or burning shorelines looking for fish. It's also learning what that bottom feels
Yeah.
like.
Give me a couple good walks in an area, and I can usually tell you where the fish are there.
Yeah.
If it's just an open flat, obviously, they just like there's certain areas sometimes, but you'll walk over a gut, or you'll walk into a gut, or you'll walk over a little drop
You'll
off,
slow down
or
there,
you'll
yeah.
walk into a big ass sand pocket or something, and you're drifting over in a boat. And I've had buddies tell me this and that before. Yeah, man, they were on this one little area. Go back there, and they like to drift. My buddy Dan likes to drift and freaking hop off and just stand in that really muddy for some reason, or hugging in it or whatever. But that's kind of what he was saying. You get a lot more information when you're in the water walking around, and there's a lot of GPS units and stuff out there that you can drop some money on and get the
Yeah, but
side
even at that, you
imaging and
don't
the
see it. I
bottom,
mean,
and you got to learn how to read it. And that's a lot of guys' argument, right? It's like oh, well, I catch just as many fish out of the boat as you do here and there. And to me, it's not really about that,
Yeah.
It's a kind of combination of, I can't tell you why I started wade fishing. I started when I was a kid. I was just like showing it one time, and I was like, this is what I like.
So based on what you said, obviously there are various reasons, and it sounds like it's still not very clear. It can go either way in terms of whether you catch more fish, whether
Yeah.
you're waiting or not. Some people say you won't. Some some people say you don't. At the end of the day, so one thing you said that stood out was that it's what you like to do. It's what you enjoy, and maybe you enjoy doing it for these various reasons, right? So whether it relates to catching more fish or not,
that's not even a factor.
That's not even a factor. It's like you just enjoy the slowing down, seeing, like noticing all the details that are going on
I
around
believe
it.
me personally, I'm going to catch more fish than if me personally is on a boat and fishing. You know, I'm going to catch more in the water when I'm walking around because I'm kind of in my element there. I'm in my zone. Like,
he's got gills and shit.
And going back to the whole catching fish thing, it's you're fishing a tournament. How many times when you are on a boat, you're doing a drift, you've got a boat 60 yards beside you where they shouldn't be there, right? But you're all still doing drift. One boat's catching all the fish, and the other boat's looking at the other boat like, oh, what are they doing? You're trying to figure out what lures they're throwing. But same thing when you're wade fishing. If you've got a group of 4 guys, you're fishing a tournament. Now you spread out a little bit. It just takes one guy to be on that right line. Where you might not be, where you're just deeper, drifting in one spot on the boat, right? So now you spread out. You're on the right line. That one guy's just catching them, and now everybody kind of moves over or scoot over just a little bit, and now 2 or 3 guys start catching.
I got a buddy that went with us one time. We were out waiting, and me and my other buddy thought we were doing good, and I was like, man, this guy, he was a little heavy guy, so he slowed down a little bit. I was like, man, he's fishing behind us. Like, we've already run through everything. We got there, he had limited out in one area, man. He's like, let's just stay here. And I was like, I thought you were tired. He's like, why was? But
that's why I stayed here.
And we literally walked by him. Like, it's just it happens too.
Being on the right lines,
or if you're fishing structured too, like, you can anchor up and fish it, or you can power pole or whatever. Sometimes the wind is a certain direction, or the current's going a certain way or whatever, and you want to have that touch of your lure. I'm fishing a gut, or I'm fishing an oyster bar, or like a really steep drop off or something, and I want to stand there and work the shit out of it. I want to work it over the surface. I want to work it a little bit deeper and a little bit mid-range water column. I want to get it on the bottom. You find where they are, and then you can just sit there and freaking hammer them.
What kind of lures are you throwing?
All of them.
I pretty much stick to AM lures, man. I can look anybody in the eye and say every fish I've caught in the past year and a half has been on those.
I like those, man, but they smell like garlic, bro. I gotta say.
You gotta be able to handle the sauce.
My wife's like, were you at Olive Garden? No, I went fishing, babe. I promise. You were at Olive Garden. You didn't take me.
So
that's my favorite restaurant.
So all right, so we talked about why. So there's various reasons why people do it. It seems like all of y'all's experiences that you will catch more fish. You have more confidence in yourself and just your ability to spread out, slow it down, and to it translates to catching more fish. Plus, it sounds like you guys really enjoy it too. There's
exactly that's the main thing too. Like,
one of the
way I started was I was like, I like this a lot more than fishing off the boat. Like, that was just my only thought as a kid, and so every time I had the chance to do it, whether it was with my granddad, my dad doesn't like to wait, so it's kind of. He would every now and again, but he liked to stay in the boat. So that's how he liked to fish. So, drop me off over here, go there, whatever.
They wouldn't pick him up after.
Dude,
that's why he walked so much.
He used to drop me off at like 8 a.m, and then he'd go drift and shit and come pick me up at like 11 or 12. Like, all right,
how did you know there's a gut there? Because I walked through it to get home.
It's this deep.
Over there,
some of us
the channel's coming up.
Some of us didn't grow up with a boat, so if we wanted to fish, I had to go.
That was what I was gonna say. One of the reasons why I waited was because I didn't have a boat. So then I got into the kayaking, and even with the kayaking, I used the kayak to get to some spots, and then I get off and wait. And then with the boat now, I got a boat, and that's just to get me where I need to go. Exactly. And then I get off and wait. And it's just like I have a buddy who does not wait. He doesn't wait. He's like, for what? He's always like, I don't want to wait, and where there's water, there's fish. All right, man, go for it. You can stay on the boat, and I'll wait, and you can drift by next to me, and like I'm catching more fish than you are, but it's okay.
I mean, so for anyone that's watching, if you guys love to wade, just go ahead and add a comment in there, what it is, why it is you love to wade, or if you won't get in the water, just go ahead and add that in there too. So we can.
There's no sharks at the bay.
None.
None. I've never seen any with my own 3 eyes.
All right.
I'm just like really hesitant to tell people that like this is the way you have to fish, because it's really just about enjoying it. It's fishing. It's a leisure activity. Yeah, you can get hardcore with it, and you can go fish tournaments, or you can spin it however
make your own lures and stuff, make your own rods.
But it's like
you can do whatever you want.
If you're getting off just freaking sitting there with bait and trying to catch fish, or you want to fish with lures, or you want to fish off the boat, or you want to wade fish,
absolutely.
You want to pier fish, like do what you want to do.
Just
do
fish.
what's fun for
just
you.
fish.
If you're scared to death of wade fishing, okay, no one's forcing you to wade fish. Just
go out and fish, man.
Do it the way you want to do it. There's a million ways to catch them. just try to respect the fish. Whatever you do.
What do you guys think about like so I know both of you guys fish a lot together, and so it's everybody's waiting, but I mean, how do you go when half of you guys want to wait and you have one or two people that don't want to wait? How do you manage that?
Hey, bro, drop me off over there. And let me know when you're leaving.
This guy really just drop me off somewhere, and then he'll hit you. Hey, where you going, sir? You're going north? Can you drop me off?
Yeah, bro.
That's what we did last time. They dropped him off, and I was in the area, and I went over there, and then
I was out with Albert.
Yeah, he was out with Albert. Albert took off, and he's like, "Just drop me off over there. They're gonna pass by and pick me up." Okay, shit. Uber on the water. The bad thing was we stayed there and fished with him too. I was like, and then Albert came back and left without you.
Yeah,
you ended up going with me at the end.
Freaking whatever.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. Most like everybody I fish with, they wade fish.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You kind of group together, right?
So and I think you kind of do. But we do have every once in a while, especially when we fish tournaments. We have that one guy we call the boat bitch, right? So he goes drops everybody off.
We call him power pole.
Hey,
power pole up, bro.
Yeah. So he'll drop everybody off.
Yeah, when you're remote,
takes off. He'll fish, and then we text him when we've got what we're looking for, and then he comes picks up, and now we'll go target a fish that we may be looking for.
So not necessarily is not just a bad thing having somebody who doesn't want to. You can use it to your advantage.
That's the guy who moves around, and he's most of our guy that likes to do that.
Yeah,
and he catch fish.
One of the different that I'm gonna say is you're talking about tournament fishing. So obviously you're going with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when you take somebody who hasn't fished and you don't want to leave them alone in the boat, because for me it's like I feel bad. I'm like, I was like, I want that guy to have a good time too.
Yeah.
It ain't just about
catch fish.
I can go. I'm not saying I can go catch fish every single day that I go, but I know that I can go back and try to get some fish. And sometimes you get those guys that fish once a month, twice a month, and you want to make sure. For me, I want my friends to go and have a good time.
Yeah, and I talk a little bit more about the tournament side of it, but I've got two girls, and they don't really wade fish, and because they don't get a lot of opportunity to come fish with me. So that's
you don't take them.
Only time.
Just call them out.
Right?
You got to, man.
But we'll go out and we'll stay on the boat, and like I said, we have a good time.
Yeah,
so it's not all always about wade fishing. You have to know who you got with you.
It's always about having a good time.
It's about having a good time.
If you can just decide that you're gonna have a good time before you even go out there, then everything else is just a bonus. The fish, the scenery, whatever you enjoy out there, you just go out there and with the mindset of you're gonna have a good time no matter what. You're not expecting anything, and you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna do what you want to do, which you want to fish off the boat, you want to wade fish, like we were saying. That's just I kind of said that in the last podcast too. Like that's the mentality you got to have out there, because at the end of the day, you could pattern the fish for years. You can have logs. You can have freaking wind, tide, everything.
You're good at practice.
And then you get out there and, just doesn't happen one day. If you're expecting to catch fish, you're going to be disappointed. If you're not expecting anything, you're going to be like, wow, today sucked. But, let me go look and see what happened.
Yeah, you should consider it a win.
Was different?
Just being out there.
What did I miss?
That's why you save pictures from other times. That way you can post them.
So what Victor does, so I've seen him. He carries around 10 shirts.
Yeah,
bro, come on,
secret. So that's
I'm out.
Left side of fish, right side of fish.
Flip the picture over.
Like one side's got 3 spots. Yeah. He's got one. So
he's got his Snapchat filters on.
You do what you gotta do, Sam. I have a good time. Okay,
but that's what it's all about.
GoPro, stop recording.
All right, so now we talked about why someone would do it. All right, so how do you get into it, right? So let's so Roy's here talking about having the right gear to get in. So what is the right thing? What do you need to have to start wade fishing?
Wading boots.
Wading boots for sure. And the important part is he said the right wading boots.
Yeah,
it's not just having wading boots. Depends on where you're gonna go fishing too. You're gonna go fishing oyster show. That when I go with these guys, it's like I can't take my soft science. No, you end up with no science.
Yeah. And no toes.
Is that bleeding shark? No, that's bleeding toe.
He's chumming.
Yeah, no, that's important, because if you're not comfortable, it's tough.
It's gonna be miserable.
Yeah. So comfortable.
So dedicated proper wading boots.
Wading boots.
So what's a good starting wading boots?
When I got more into wading, I went and I got the Ray Guards. Those are the ones I got. And then I used a size 10 shoe and I bought a size 10 boot. That's not a good idea.
Don't do that.
Oh, hell no. My toes are like...
I wear a 10.5 and my wading boots are 12s.
With the sock or without the sock? The neoprene sock.
I wear a neoprene sock.
Okay.
That's another thing you should probably have. It's not a necessity, but it keeps all the sand and dirt and nasty, most of it, out of your stuff. You stick in mud, whatever, you might get some in there. But neoprene socks, solid wading boots with like a hard rubber bottom. Unless you know you're gonna be wading like open flats with no oysters or no anything. I know I'm walking over oysters, so I buy a pair with a heavy rubber bottom.
What do you use?
I'll tell you, I'm very fortunate. I've the ability to buy 2 different pair wading boots, right?
Yeah.
I have a pair that's a real sturdy, hard wading boot that I can put a neoprene sock over.
Okay.
And that I tend to fish really early in the season. Water's still a little cooler. Or if I know we're going to go fish some oyster beds or things like that. And then I've got another
Which ones
set.
are they? You don't mind?
I use the Sims.
Okay.
And I'm not real sure what the model is on
Okay.
those. But it's a heavier, sturdier boot.
Using the lace ups.
Real comfortable. Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
lace ups.
Okay.
And then I have another set that it's also a Sims boot, really light. And I wear socks with those, and so the Sims
Smaller.
socks. So it's a much lighter set. Late in the summer, water's hot already.
Yeah.
It's just a much more comfortable
Yeah.
feeling when you've
What
got
do
a
you use,
lighter
Monty?
setup.
I use the Sims booties. Just a zip up side made out of neoprene, hard rubber all around them. I wear them year round. I might get another pair just to have a little bit larger size to fit my wading socks in too, because I'm starting to wear waders now that it's cooling off, and so that's another.
Yep.
You got the sock on the waders, then you got the neoprene over that, and then the boot. So they do get a little tight, but I mean mine are kind of like on the borderline where I don't really like need it, but I don't know.
So
And as far as
also
which ones to get, I'll give the same advice as I'll give on any piece of fishing equipment you ever buy. Just get the best one you can the first time, whether that's a $40 pair, the $80 pair,
All day.
$150 pair of lace ups, whatever. Just buy the best one you can the first time and go with that.
they're gonna last you longer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
Rods,
those
reels,
Everlast ones, and I've
whatevers.
fished
Yeah,
those for a
those are
while.
great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're like $60, $70, and you can buy them at Academy. And
Yeah.
Those are the ray guards, right?
they're the Everlast. I think
they
they
got
Everlast.
the
Everlast,
lace-up.
yeah, they're lace up, yeah.
They got lace up ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
gray ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have 2 pairs. I have my my ray guards that I like to use, but lately the last 6 months I've been using a lot of that soft science, and they're really really comfortable,
Yeah.
really comfortable. But when we
Right,
are fishing
yeah.
the oyster, you can tell how they're getting damaged as the more you're waiting.
Yeah, they're
But,
lighter, softer, more
Dude, they are
comfortable.
comfortable,
I
man.
like.
You
I
can
put
wear
them on.
those- You can wear those to the dance after.
I put it
Yeah.
like
He
they're
does.
perfect for the boat.
He's on.
Talking about that's it. Sometimes when
Where's
I am
the Olive
when I
Garden?
do have to drift, like I'll put them on the boat, and they're super comfortable to be on the boat, and they're not slippery. Because
Oh,
my
yeah.
ray guards, man,
I wear my
Ooh,
boots all
God.
day. Usually at 4:30 in the morning when we're getting ready to go on.
They're on already.
My boots are on. We'll go fish all day, go to the weigh-in, and until we're docking the boat to leave the water, I still got my boots on.
Yeah.
But they're just like I said,
You
they're
sleep with
just
them. Are you
super
ready to go
comfortable. I'm
in the
ready.
morning?
Yeah, I'm ready. And so, we don't want to show up to your spot in the morning and all of a sudden you're waiting for everybody to get off the boat because
Yeah.
you're putting wading boots on.
yeah. But being comfortable is definitely a must. You like Monty said, you want to be comfortable. Like Ted said, you do want to be comfortable. You want to go out there. I made the mistake of buying some small boots, and then when it got cold
Yeah.
and I had the neoprene sock on, and then it was the waiter.
Yeah.
Bro, I waited for maybe 10 minutes and I was done.
That's
My
it,
feet
yeah.
were cramping up.
Yeah,
Like, and the
your
thing is, I
toes
couldn't even.
going numb.
I couldn't
They're
fish
all
anymore.
cramped
Like
up,
it was really
squeezed in
uncomfortable.
there. Yeah, exactly. And you hit
Yeah.
it right there. Like if you can tough it out, you're going to be more focused on your feet than you are
Yeah,
fishing.
you're right.
And if you can't, then it kills your day of fishing. So it's like it's better to go. I don't want to say larger, but maybe go like a size or 2 up, or maybe just put the neoprene socks on when you buy
try 'em
them
on.
and
Yeah.
try them
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I went
That
2
would be the
sizes
best
up.
way to do
That's what
it.
I did. I did
Two
go 2
sizes. Yeah,
sizes
that's
up.
what I did
Yeah.
too.
I mean, that's probably a good rule of thumb if you're going to wear the neoprene stuff, especially the Sims ones, because those are a little thicker, a little bit higher quality neoprene.
Well, they come
than a lot
with.
of
They
the
have
other
some
ones.
that come with neoprene socks
Yeah.
in them too.
So I
now.
did
Oh.
2 sizes up because
My booties
I
don't.
can wear the neoprene. I can wear the wading boot like we do now, and just the wading boot and the neoprene sock, and I feel comfortable. They're not too big.
Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, but having that 2 sizes up means that wintertime I can actually still wear
Wear
my
your
waders,
waders, yeah.
and it'll be nice and comfortable.
Yeah, it saves you from having to buy another pair.
Yeah.
right,
Oh, then my wife gets mad, so I
Yeah.
just.
Tell her it's for Christmas. All right, so
I told him
wait-
it's for her. What'd you buy me size 12? Oh, my bad.
That's all
you
they
gotta wear some socks.
Yeah,
Tell her.
we gotta wear
It
them.
was, it was on clearance. I can't return them.
That's why they were.
I lost the receipt. I lost the receipt.
Just tearing it up.
Yep. All right, so wading boots. What about waders? Let's talk about what do you need for waders?
I
That's a
would.
tough one, man. I don't wear waders.
I would definitely get.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No. I do wear waders. I'm
You're,
sorry.
you're going to be pretty soon.
Yeah. Yes, I do wear waders. Wintertime, I do wear
Winter
waders.
time.
Same thing. It goes back to the boots.
Yeah.
You know, the best quality
Exactly.
set of waders that you can buy, that you can afford,
Get
that's
'em.
get them. You know, because the same thing. You know, and I fell into that trap, and you know, well, you're only going to use waders for a couple
Few
months
months,
early
yeah.
in the year, so I'll go buy a cheap pair. We'll use them once, and they don't last. So there I am buying another set and then another set.
The
Before
total
I know
cost,
it,
yeah.
Yeah.
I could have
That's-
bought.
Is Jacob still on here?
Yeah, Jacob said not to wear waders with the holes on them.
I
and
don't,
all.
I don't mean to cut you off, bro, but
No, go for
could
it.
Jacob put up how much he paid for his waders and how that turned out for him yesterday?
Yeah.
So,
The ones he
buy
wore
the cheap
yesterday?
waders are
His shorts were a little moist.
Hopefully that was the waders, bro.
I hope
You
so,
bla- we
bro.
blame it
It
on
wasn't the waders or the
I
waiter.
was gonna say it might have been.
He hooked up already and he got excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
was all happy about his $20 waders.
$20, $20
$20
$20
And
waders.
then,
Yeah,
and then we
so-
get in, and
I
there it
Do they
is.
sell
And
how much?
waders?
I bet
you
you
know
bought
what,
them
bro?
on Facebook
Hey.
Marketplace.
Yeah.
You
He
found
said that, and now we're both like,
and La Pulga.
Pulga online?
I don't know, man.
They look good,
Cool,
but
bro.
He asked them, do they have holes? Just one big one on
Yeah.
top. Where you go, I used so when it comes down to waders, I do wear waders. I don't like to wear waders during the summer, but of course now that the colder water in the
Yeah.
morning, I went and I bought the Magellan ones, the G2s, and they've been great for me.
Yeah.
That's what I could afford.
Yeah.
And that's what I bought. Do I want some Sims? Yes, but I
Hell
just
yeah.
couldn't afford the $600-700.
Yeah.
Because I do. If I do get the Sims, I want to get the ones with the zip up,
Yeah.
so I can just go pee whenever I want, just for fun.
Just
Be
to
right
say.
here.
Quit buying
Yeah,
$40
yeah.
wading boots 7
Yeah.
times a year, and you might be able to get a good pair of waders.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
But for me, the G2s, I've had them for 2 years, and I've
Yeah.
never had any
Yeah.
problem with them.
Yeah,
At the
there's a
same
lot
time,
of-
I take care of them.
And at the end of the day, that's
Yeah.
it. You take
I
care
take
of
care
them
of
after you
them.
get out of
Yeah.
the water.
Hang
rinse
them
out,
up and
Rinse
clean
them off,
them,
hang them
yeah.
up, and let them dry.
Yeah, I hang
Keep
them up,
clean
let them
and-
dry, and they've last me.
Yeah, those are the same ones I've had too. And I've had the same
Yeah.
luck as you. I've get little holes in them now and just try to patch them up. But for the most
Yeah.
part, I mean, they've lasted me. But actually, this year I am going to buy some new waders, so I am in
Yeah.
the market for looking. So now that
Well, Sims has got a pair that's like I think they have a $200 level now.
Yep.
Or a
Okay.
$200 pair that's and it's there are two different types of waders. You got the neoprenes and you got the breathables. I would get the breathables because you can always put on more layers underneath.
Yep.
Get a larger size, whatever you got to do in the winter, which is whenever I'm wearing them. I'm not wearing them during the summer. It's way too hot down here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to wet wade anyways. But yeah, the neoprenes.
You like to wet wade?
Yeah. During the summer.
No waders.
You're getting in the
Oh,
water.
wait,
yeah.
I thought you meant free balling. Also.
That's
Well,
another.
Same,
That's
same,
another
same, same.
podcast.
It all
If you
goes
want to
together.
get really in touch with what's going on around you.
That's another podcast.
No
You're like,
barriers.
are you throwing gope?
It's a butt juice, bro.
Yeah, so Roy says he's also buying the Sims as well too. So
There
this
you
year,
go.
so
Yeah.
they're definitely,
Trash
you know,
Victor. Hey man, they
You know,
work for
that-
me,
that-
bro. I mean, I 2 years, $100 I spent in 2 years. I mean, hey, they done,
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
they're done their
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock any brands, just
No.
the neoprene and breathables.
But if you want to give me some
Someone
Sims, man, I appreciate it. I take a
I
lot.
we're,
accept
we're all
yes.
gonna start a pool, a GoFundMe for Victor.
There we go.
for Sims.
let's get
Any
Vincent.
donations are appreciated.
All right, so definitely, so getting a good pair of
Yeah.
waders. We talked about different ones. So you talked about.
Can I have one?
the-
He says he's got 4 pairs. Can I just borrow one? Let me borrow one for one winter so I
Yeah.
can see really how they are.
Give him a test drive.
Yeah.
I invested in a nice pair of waders a couple years ago, the Patagonia ones.
Okay.
I've got a set of those.
Yeah, and I actually invested in them and decided to spring for the extra money because they actually roll up in a little freaking sack that's like this big, and I
Really?
can carry a whole pair of chest waders in a backpack. And they're called the Freestone or something like I don't know, but you look them up, the collapsible waders or whatever, you'll find them. I think they retail for like $350. So it's not terrible. It's not super high up there, but they're super comfy, super breathable. I actually put a couple holes in them last year.
On purpose.
Kicking around on oysters.
He said you put a hole in them.
No.
I don't do that
I
to
was
Let me
the one
see.
that did it. It was me. It wasn't,
Yeah.
the waiter's fault. And
That's how you. That's what you do when you want new waiters.
yeah,
Oh, these don't work no more.
yeah. I mean, I sent them back for a patch, and they just sent me a brand new pair.
Oh.
So as far as anyone that's looking for a brand, I'll go ahead and put that out there for Patagonia. I don't have any experience with the other ones, but I just
And you're still wearing those today?
yeah,
Or
I
just
wore them
like-
yesterday.
Yeah, right now he's wearing
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, bro, all the time.
Ready to go fishing?
They
He
tomorrow.
showers with them.
And you mentioned the zipper. These actually also have like a suspender system. So there's a couple clips up here you pop up and you can slide them down and relieve yourself. and you ain't got to be just sitting there like holding it the whole time. or
Yeah,
trying
that's
to time your
that's
Ps
frustrating with
yeah.
those Magellan ones.
That's the only
Yeah.
thing. Those Magellan ones have that extra thing in the middle. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
god!
oh, they're awesome.
Yeah, I'm
I love
always
them.
looking to see, you know, how far is the shoreline versus how far is the boat. Which one can I get
Yeah.
to first?
Have y'all
Exactly.
seen the new Magellan ones?
Tell Victor
So
I gotta go, dude,
inside,
he drops
they
me
have
off, like,
a-
100 yards away from the
It has like a neoprene belt on them, and it's so that I guess water doesn't go into your legs. But man, I mean they're comfortable. But you put them on, you put that on,
Yep.
and then you strap them off from the top. So when you do have to relieve yourself,
It's a lot to undo.
yeah, man. Then you pretend you have holes in your way. I had a hole in the way, bro.
Yeah.
Right, Jacob? I paid $20.
That's what you got, right?
Oh.
All right. So waders, we talked about
Not
the
worth
different
it.
brands out there.
Yeah.
Neoprene boots, wading boots. And so we talked breathable. You guys would all recommend
Yeah,
the breathable over the
breathable,
neoprene.
definitely.
Yeah.
So,
Like you said, you
You-
can just
You can always
long
put
time
another layer
something.
on. Yeah.
so what do people use those the neoprene ones for?
Keeping
Most of
warm.
the time is
Keeping-
duck hunting.
Duck hunting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
duck hunters
mostly
like
the
them a
hunting thing.
lot,
So,
yeah.
okay. So
Just-
and just so everyone's clear, the neoprene ones are the full ones with the boots on already too, and they're they usually come in that
neoprene's
camo.
just the neoprene
The
material.
material, right?
Yeah,
It's like that rubber.
spongy-
Yeah.
You can buy them with
Yeah.
the boots or without the boots.
Okay. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you are gonna buy some, I recommend without the boots. 'Cause,
Yeah.
man,
The
those
boots
boots
are-
will
yeah,
the,
they-
kill
built,
you, bro.
the built-in boots, man.
We all know for a reason.
I've never
I've
tried a
had 'em.
nice pair with
We've all had
built-in
'em.
boots, like the $800 or $900 Sims that they got with boots. But no.
I had a pair, and they would like rub up that hard plastic
Yeah,
and rub
man.
up on
You're just
you. And you
assuming
just,
those
like,
boots
yeah.
are gonna, those boots are gonna fit your foot.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
gonna
you're
beat
hoping
you
for
up,
the
yeah.
best.
Jacob gave in, guys.
Yeah, he broke. He said he just said he said yeah. He
You
blamed
just,
it on-
all right, brother.
you just couldn't get them down fast enough, and you just said, "Screw it." This
It
is how it's
happens
gonna
to
be.
it happens to all of us. Except me, it's never happened to me.
tomorrow.
I stepped on mud
yeah,
one time.
right.
though.
So wading boots, waders. What else do we need to get wading?
They're asking about wading belts and bags.
Wading belts and bags. All right, that's
So,
kind of where
I
we're.
brought mine actually for a show and tell. There's a million of them out there. I kind of pieced this one together.
So just so we're clear, so right here you've got a small little bag with a bunch of stuff on here, and that's as good a show and
Yeah.
tell. Let's but just to make it
Look over
clear,
just
this
what to carry.
this
Yeah.
is what you carry, right? You
This
don't
is-
carry anything more than this.
This
and what's
is
here.
what I wade fish with, and
Sorry.
honestly, like this other little
But if they
shout
want
out
to
here.
sponsor the wizard, what is
yeah.
it?
Well, every
Tecate.
week I have
You
a
want to
different.
sponsor Tecate?
Every
We
week
can-
I
we're
have a
here.
different beer. I'm just waiting for someone to say,
Yeah,
"Hey, we're
right.
going to sponsor you." So-
Someone stroke a check. Let's
Either
go.
that or somebody's be like, bro, hey, a triple A or whatever. it's
So
called.
Miller Lite. Once I'm down to Miller Lite, that means I haven't got any sponsors yet.
Yeah,
So-
right.
Goes downhill quick.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel
Yeah,
there.
start off with just one
Yeah.
of my favorites, I should say. There's nothing wrong with Miller Lite, but
So that's what you use right here when you go out there.
Yeah, this is all the stuff I carry, and this is pretty much like I'm a big believer in just keep it simple, stupid. And so I carry like the minimum amount as possible. And I know this looks like a lot, and it is a bag on a sling and whatever, but if you look in here,
is this similar to what you carry, just kind of at first glance?
yeah, whether this is
It is. I mean, I
Not asking
use an easy weight belt.
Okay.
I like that support because when we wade, we're doing long waits, and there's a lot of times where I'll get dropped off at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. And they don't pick me up until 2 o'clock.
Damn,
Yeah,
man,
that's-
that's bad, bro. They don't
So,
like you, bro. That's something personal.
We do a lot of long waits like that, so that back support.
I usually
really
limit up by
help.
9,
Right.
So I'm good.
Yeah. And so, and I do have, so that doesn't have a lot of pockets in it, right? But it's really good for support wise.
Okay.
And I've got my pliers on there and everything that I need. Cook the bogas on that one side, but I have also a Sims bag. It's kind of like a little fanny pack. And when you put that on, it's just a little bag, little pouch that sits right here in the front, and I can reach everything from there. And I can it's got one hard box in it. So I can put top waters in there, and it's got enough room where I can put, all my soft plastics in there as well. So that's
Yeah.
what I use.
I guess just basically going over what you need, like as far as tools wise,
Yeah.
like however you decide to carry it, it's a belt, a sling, or like a backpack, however you feel comfortable doing it, like if you want the back support, yeah, there's forever, or did you say Easy Weight?
Yeah, the
Easy weight.
Yeah, the Easy Weight, man, that's a great one. Albert wears it. I got one. It wasn't really my cup of tea. I'm not usually trying to carry a lot of rods. I'd like
I'll
to
give you
have-
$20 for it.
Someone
It's actually already claimed.
Damn, man. Come on, girl.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, in here, all I really carry is a few of these little. This is actually one of our products that we make for Aim Fishing. It's called a pocket box. So I just got a couple of these full of lures. If you
So
want
these
to
are all
put
your soft plastics,
Think
or
in
you're
there.
carrying them in here? In
Yeah, I
this,
carry about 5 of
watertight
those.
box.
5 of those.
Five of
with-
these different boxes, or five? Of
Yeah,
these
5
different-
of these boxes. Just like
Different
here are all
lures.
my.
Oh man, I
lights.
just
This
opened
is-
this. You can smell it.
yeah, like this is what I take. Like this is all my tackle I
Okay,
take on
right.
the boat with me, like anywhere.
All right.
You know, so I don't have like a big tackle box and this thing, and I'm loading it. This is like all my lures that I'm taking.
And so,
I might throw an extra
can we
bag
see
in
these two
here.
here? I guess
Yeah,
so. We
I can-
talked
I'll pull all of them
just to
out.
follow up with what we said last time
Yeah.
in terms of like the different colors you take out here. So you take the white, something dark, something neon, and then something natural.
Yeah, light, white, dark, and a bright. So a light would be like a translucent, like real natural looking color. Maybe something like this baby trout. You kind of see through that, real natural. It's not like a really hard in your face kind of presentation. It's a light, just and then like a bright would kind of be, something like you could call this pink punch of bright right here, where it's just that bright, hard pink, dark white, hard white belly. It's a hard profile. It's in their face. This one actually is fluorescent and it's got a red glowing belly, so it's there. And if you're talking about a white, it could be something like this pearl, where it's just a plain kind of silvery, natural, just kind of looks like anything that swims. Whether it's a white shrimp or a white belly on a bait fish or whatever. It's just the color you need to do. And then this would be like another bright right here. It's like a bright chartreuse, silver glitter. Yeah, that's what it has. That's what this color's called. It glows green on the top too, and it's got that fluorescent property. So it's
Okay.
kind of a bright, like attention getter.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a dark bait. This has got all my darks in. A real good one here is toxic root beer. So that would just be like a good dark colored bait. That's what
So
I'm
it's like
talking
the
about.
same thing that we
there.
talked about last time. So
Yeah.
you just the
Yeah,
4 different
exactly.
styles, and you
Yeah.
just carry them in here.
So to
Yeah.
me, when it comes to weight
I'll
and,
just
and what
freaking-
you're gonna carry, it's gonna depend on what you're doing. So let's say you're new into wading, you're more likely gonna stay close to the boat, right? So you might need your, just some tackle, your net for sure, get your net. And then you have times like Ted that if he's gonna be for a tournament, they're gonna drop him off. So
Yeah.
you gotta make sure you have your stuff.
You got- you
gotta have everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
So an easy way at that point, with the pliers and everything, it comes in really handy because you don't want they dropped them off for
Yeah.
basically the whole day.
Oh, he's
This
got
guy's
it-
probably went home.
He's got his taco in there
Yeah,
too.
this
Right?
guy's went home,
I got
chilled.
smart. I finally got smart. That Sims bag's got a little pocket for a water bottle.
Yeah, some
He used to get
water,
dropped off with
sandwich,
no water.
something. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
man,
see?
that's a long.
So-
That makes for a rough morning.
Yeah.
So that's when
Yeah.
what you need. Like Molly, he's also one of the guys that like he says, drop me off, I'll wait. So he's gonna have his his stringer, his bogas,
Yeah.
his pinzas, the
Let's
things
go
that he
over
needs.
that real
Yeah,
quick.
let's
just
go.
kind
So
of
we went over
some
the
of the
lures when you
tools.
had
Me,
it.
I only need
Lures.
one lure, bro. All I need is one lure. That's all I need, bro.
Yeah.
Just one lure. Give me one lure.
I'm just gonna catch
Boom.
one fish.
Yeah, so like you got
And
your
a white
stringer, right? Like I said, I like to go a little bit more conservative. I got an 8-foot stinky
Exactly
pants
what I
stringer
use.
here with a tiny little float. Some guys want the longer 12, 15-foot stringer because if someone starts eating their fish, they want it a little further away. I get that too. A lot of stringers have
I just
a lot
knew it
bigger
because I
float
catch that
on
many
it.
fish, and
Yeah, just not enough room.
I take 3 of them. Just
Yeah.
Sam doesn't take
I
a
only
stringer.
take my limit.
Sam doesn't take a stringer.
Or, yeah,
Or-
Victor showed the picture.
He don't even
right?
he don't even take a.
I can do catch and release.
Yeah, he does catch and release, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that video?
Quick release.
He didn't have to touch it, but not to
Yeah.
come on.
He was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
fish,
He was,
fish."
he was that kid in 3rd grade walking around with his shoes untied all the time because he couldn't tie a knot.
Yeah,
Yeah, like well, can't do
He's
that.
tripping over himself. Yeah, so you got your stringer. Obviously, some people use a fish bag. You can do that too.
A little
Fish
line
bags
cutter.
don't do good walking over oysters. Make that a note.
What's
Uh,
that? Fish bags.
Fish bags don't do good when you're walking over oysters.
Oh,
Okay.
and then once a lot of people have been using those. I've never
Yeah.
used them, but you put them in there, and they're the
It's
fish.
just like a
are-
mesh bag with a
Yeah.
float,
Yeah.
and you can carry a net too if you want. If I'm fishing a tournament, I'll carry a net just because it's there's
carry a net?
a
I
check
do.
on the end of the
During
line.
tournaments,
You know,
we carry
Okay.
nets. Yeah.
I'm not super mad at them. So when I'm just out there fishing, like I'm not really, I'll just land them with these things, which is just some kind of fish grip. These are just a cheap pair that we sell, just Brogas.
But those are gluten free, so they're good.
Yeah.
That's what it
Vegan
says in
friendly.
the box. They're vegan
But
friendly.
yeah, I got
gluten-free.
these on a tether. Just you drop these, they're gone. Some people have just a float on it. It's all just your preference. Got little clippers here, cut your line. Just the basic stuff you need if just for fishing.
Okay.
You got to have it all. I got these up here, like where they hang on my chest, so they're easily accessible. So have them on your belt or necklace or in your pocket, whatever. Carry a pair of pliers too back here, just typical.
So if you're
fishing
somebody
stuff.
who's waited before, then you could you can take something like this or get that easy weight.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who hasn't waited before, to me, the more you take, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
My
Definitely.
personal opinion. I have just a little, literally like one of these little boxes I put and I just carry it like that with me.
Your boat goes with you too.
My boat, yeah. Well, my boat, yeah.
Your boat's
and
40 yards
usually-
behind you.
Yeah,
and
my
you're picking up
boat's
your
coming
car-
down with a
like,
power
I'm-
pole. So if I need to get something, but usually what I carry is gonna be the AM box, the bigger one that was $50. You still have some
Yeah.
of those for sale?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So those are the big $50 box with like 12 packs of lures.
Yeah.
I carry that. I
There's
actually
60
put
now, and you get to pick the packs. But
oh 60. My bad, 60. And
but
so
you
I
get
put
to pick
a
the
strap.
lures you get.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
cool story, bro.
you just happen to get the last fish.
Yeah,
I wasn't
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you got the deal, man.
Yeah, bro.
So I
Clarence
That's
again.
the bro staff deal. Man.
I put a strap on it. I put a strap on it, and,
Okay.
and it has two little D rings.
Okay.
And one of the D rings I have my Vogus, and the other D ring I do have my LSG stringer set up.
Yeah.
So I just stick that in there, and that's all I go with. If I'm doing a tournament or if we're gonna go targeting flounder, then for sure I carry my
Yeah.
net. Yeah, because flounder, I don't know. I just feel
a lot of people lose them, man,
safer.
just right there,
Flounder-
right in front of you. So
Flounder are massive assholes.
yeah, everyone.
So I've
yeah.
never caught a flounder that wasn't just super pissed
Stressful.
off and
Yeah.
like giving everything it had to just
I mean,
get off and
I mean,
running
really,
and
to hook
flopping
them
around.
to
and
the net,
got
I
real
mean, you eat a
bony,
flounder,
hard
yeah, you're
mouths,
just
it's
the way they're shaped, the way they come out, the
They're
way
just awkward
you
fish.
just,
yeah.
So
You
not
can't grab 'em,
necessarily, not necessarily the more you have. To me, when you're waiting and you have something set up,
yeah.
not necessarily the more you have, the better. Scenarios
Yeah.
like Ted's, you guess,
Yeah.
right? When I
get
started
dropped off for a while too.
Yeah.
when I
most
started waiting,
times.
I had a little H2O from Academy, the one that's got like two little pouches,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's what I would use. It's got a little bit of back
And that'll
support
work.
on it,
I
just-
caught plenty of fish wearing that weighting
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
and I wear that, and
It's not
sometimes
gonna
I still
make
take
or
it with
break
me.
you. Just I know this is what I like. Carries everything I need.
And it worked for you.
This is
at the end of
exactly
the day.
like I
How do
know
you all
this is what
feel?
I want to carry.
Well,
what
I know
need.
you do. I don't know. I've never fished with Ted. This is the first time I've actually met Ted. I know that you carry two rods. You carry two rods.
I carry two
I
rods.
carry.
I'm
two
a one rod
sometimes.
guy, man. I can't
carry
carry
two.
two.
It's like
rods.
you said, your boat's
but
right behind
your
you,
boat's
though,
with
yeah.
you though.
But
you know?
even when I do,
if I had
like,
a boat 40 yards behind me, I'd have one of those boxes and I'd have that stringer and my brogas and my pliers all right here on
So
my
this is
head,
the
and that'd
most you
be
would
it.
carry. You would simple it down
Yeah,
if you were.
this
you
is
had a boat
like-
here,
Yeah, this is like me preparing for getting dropped off for 6 hours. I got this bag I can put a water in. I'll put a water in my pocket. I can put a sandwich in. Whatever I need to do.
I just drink salt water when I'm there.
Yeah, Victor just absorbs the
This
salt.
is what happens when you drink salt water.
Yeah, bro.
Salt water right here. But now I'm using a straw, so we're good, we're better now.
Yeah, he's got one of those life straws.
What's the little pocket for?
It's actually his stringer. It's got a little hole in it.
Yeah, right. It's just a long straw.
Well, I'll tell you why I carry two rods. Because a lot of times I've got a top water on one. I'll throw a top water all day.
Yeah.
So I've got a top water on one, and I've got one of my soft plastics on the other rod, right? So I tend to use that. I'll start every weight off throwing a top water, and to me that's kind of like my fish finder. If I
Yeah.
get sometimes they don't always, but I get a couple blow ups.
Yeah.
I know there's fish in areas,
Yeah.
so now I really slow down, and then I'll fan that whole area, and I may
And that
throw
goes back to the weight.
a soft plastic exactly, and so. But to me, that top water, I catch a lot of fish on that top water, so I'll fish it all day.
Which
but
top water are you throwing? Is
I
something
throw
big
the
or like
big,
the
super
big,
spook? Yeah,
the full side? Yeah.
bone color super spook. I'll throw that all day
Yeah.
sometimes.
And you'll catch 10-inch trout on that thing too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like just that.
Yeah.
It's it's half the size of
They're
the.
just like, I don't know if I can take that or not, but I'm gonna
But
try.
I might try.
Sounds like me.
There's always that.
I'm gonna try to
short
get it.
syndrome.
I'm gonna try to get a chunk. Yeah.
Sam bought a 24 pack. He's like, well, I think I can take on this.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how
They
it
got
ends
that
up.
little man syndrome. Those-
Yeah.
those-
So this is like a
same
top
way.
water.
It's the story of my
I can
life.
take him.
They got something to prove. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
freaking-
so I'll throw a top water, and that's why I've got two rods. I'm not having to, cut one off, put another
Yeah.
one on, and I can
saves
save a
fishing
lot of time.
Yeah.
That's
and,
why-
and
that's
if
why-
it's like for me, if it's shallow enough, like I'll just tuck one in my waist. I wear a belt and a pair of pants because I'm white and I burn really quick. So I wear pants when I fish, whether it's 100 degrees or 30 degrees. But yeah, if it's shallow enough for me to just tuck a rod, like in my belt or something, I'll take an extra. But I mean, for the most part, I'm just gonna be a one rod. If it gets up to belly button or waist deep, or if I'm even questioning that rod's going to get splashed by the water or get dunked, then I won't take it. But
Okay.
if I'm in thigh deep or less, I'll usually just have a backup, just have another color rigged up, maybe have a weedless setup and a jig head, top water and a soft plastic, whatever you want to have, just having the versatility there. And that's kind of another thing, just staying versatile, staying flexible on the water. And
I do one rod, man. I've tried before with two rods, and I just couldn't. So instead of cutting the line all the time, if I want to change, that's why I go to that swivel clip that I like to use.
Yeah.
And to me, it makes it easier just going in and out and switching. And then if it starts hitting at something, I'm gonna leave that, and then maybe I'll take that off and do a loop knot and just keep fishing with that. That's the way I do it. I've never been a two rod kind of guy.
Yeah,
but you can do it either way, right?
If I had I
mean, it's all just.
If I had somebody that makes rods that would hook me up with one, it'd be a little different.
One that don't break.
And I'm glad you mentioned the swivels, and I'm kind of that guy. I use no hardware. I
just straight
from mono to my leader material, and then I tied directly on. Well, no, from the mono to my braid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No swivel either.
Yeah. I use an FG knot.
Yeah, and so then but I don't. One less thing that can go wrong.
Yeah,
that hardware. I've had before when I'd fish, you hook on a big redfish, they'll straighten out those swivels.
I've hooked big reds.
Yeah,
and I've never had any red straighten out. I had a red straighten. I had a couple of red straighten on my hook.
Yeah,
right.
But never my clip. But one thing that I have lost is when I don't take care of my clip. If you use it 3-4 times, then you got to change that clip out.
And I'm guessing now, I haven't bought those swivels in a long time, so I'm guessing they're better quality.
And I use a big one. There's two. There's a 20 and a 35. I use the 35, so I use a little bit bigger on it. But I see what you mean. The less hardware, the better, because so when it is grassy, even if I'm throwing a weedless, it still has some there.
Yeah.
All right. So, but I do a loop knot. It's mostly a lot of what I use when I do. Like my friends go with me, then I put a clip on them because I just don't want to be doing knots.
Yeah. I understand.
So somebody was saying, about doing
pretty much my setup right there.
Yep.
About
foot and a half to 20 inches a leader. I use 30-pound mono. The leader 15, 20, 25 fluorocarbon mono. I don't think it really matters. It's just a personal preference.
And bro's beat up, bro. It must have been a good day.
That's what I use.
That's
a few good days, man. That's what I'm talking about. This 30-pound mono. I use the Mason, just a little red and white spool leader. I got one in there if we're going to show it. But it's just a loop knot to my jig head and then an FG knot here to my leader. And I absolutely always fish with a leader. I don't care if this thing, always. If I happen to end up or run out or don't have an extra, like I'll cut this down to like 2 inches, before I'll cut it off and just throw it straight on the braid. A lot of people are going to fight back on that. Oh, I've never lost a fish on braid. And it's okay, dude. Don't fish with
Sam has.
Don't fish with a leader. That's your deal.
Well, we had a discussion on Facebook because I about the clip and the loop knot, and so what I do now is I use the clip, but I put a loop knot on the clip. Oh yeah, baby! Hey,
photo actually on.
Now got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, bro. You got all the action.
You got all the action. That double action.
I put 2 hooks on one of them things.
Oh, yeah. So we showed some soft plastics. What else do we have in your box here? So we have some. You're showing some jig heads here. So what actually? So what kind of jig heads do you carry here? In terms of sizes?
Oh, man, I wish I would have brought some. I use them. They're called Black's Magic Jig Heads, and those are my favorite ones. They come in a 32 ounce all the way up to a quarter, I think. But
those small ones.
For the most part, if you just have a 6, that's actually a 16th.
This is an 8th, isn't it?
No, that's a 16th. And then that's the one I like. It's actually a 1/32, and it's a 1/0 hook, so it's just a mean ass little jig head, honestly. But that lighter weight, it scares a lot of people off, and they're kind of like, oh, I can't throw that. It's really not that big of a difference, but the action of your lure with that little bit lighter jig head is going to be a lot more natural. It's not going to just sink right down to the bottom. Sometimes they do want that, but yeah, like I can keep this jig head in 6 inches of water column, whether that 6 inches is on the surface, mid-level, down on the bottom, wherever you get there, you want to kind of figure out how your lure is acting in the water at the spot. Just kind of work it in front of you a little bit, figure out how fast it sinks. And that goes back to what he was talking about. When you're in the water waiting, you have a lot more contact with your lure. You have a lot more control over it. You're a lot more in touch with it. You can feel literally the difference between this thing like scraping grass on the bottom and like being buried into it, or not touching the grass and you drop it down and you're scraping the grass.
That's to do with your rod too, right?
Yeah.
So
the sensitivity of the rod as well. I mean, and that goes back to the whole get the best one you can the first time.
Get a follow rod, bro.
If you're going to be throwing lures, you want the most sensitive rod you can. I like a light, quick, fast rod. I invest a lot of money into my rods. I know a lot of other people that do. But but you got a rod out there that's, real heavy or, maybe a lower quality,
Yeah, it has.
whatever. I'm not judging what anybody uses. You can catch them with a damn cane pole on some days.
We caught them in a little freaking kids fishing rod one
Yeah,
time just to
little
mess
Barbie
around.
rods.
We
Yeah,
caught some.
when they're there, they're
I
there.
have a
man.
video. I have a video on
Barbie
it.
rod.
My little brother had never gone with me, and I was like, "This is rod you're gonna use." He's like, "For real?" I was like, "Yeah." And he caught a fish on it, bro. And he was like, "I caught a fish." And I was like, "What?" I wanted to cut
You're
his
like,
line.
give that to me.
I wanted to cut his line, bro. I was like, "Oh, I fucking hate this shit."
It's a lucky rod. But yeah, and then just going over
different
what
jig
I
head,
carry. And I like screw lug jig heads.
Yep.
They're a pain in the ass sometimes when you're trying to
Put
figure out
them
what
on.
they're hitting, swap colors, this and that. But they're gonna make your lures last a hell of a lot longer. They're good. If it tears off of a regular jig head that's got just a
comes
big
right at
piece of
ya.
lead or something, it's blown out. It's not gonna ever sit on there right again. I can have the most beat up, torn up, like freaking just torn to shreds lure on this thing and still just manage to squeeze it on there and
Just
twist
one
and
more
get
twist,
one
yeah.
more fish, one more cast. You're out there in the shit and that you're out of them or whatever, and you ran out or you only got that one in that color and that's what they want, whatever. That's gonna make your lure last a lot longer. And it's also kind of an economics thing. Your lures are tearing out and you're having to swap one every other cast. Guys that are concerned with that, like it'll make your dollar go a little further. Make your soft plastics go a little further. Obviously, nothing's gonna make them indestructible. But
When I started fishing with Monty, he introduced me to this jig hits, and I was just like, "Man, it's a small hook." And I've caught some big reds on them.
Yeah, well, now I have two now, so
good.
it's kind of the way it kind of went around. You got it through Monty, I got it through you, and
Yeah, I was like,
it's
man.
the ones I use too. So
I don't buy any. I just ask Monty for some every time. Like, let me see the little box you have there.
that's good because that's the way I get it from him. Whenever I need jig heads, I go fishing with Jig.
It's your supplier, Monty.
No, whenever I need stuff, I go fight
Whatever you
fishing
need,
with
bro.
Victor.
Whatever you need, bro. It's on us.
Oh, Victor just says like, here, get whatever you want from my box, and I get here from his box, and so I get my tackle box, and I start putting stuff.
And then Monty calls me, "Hey, bro, did you leave my box there?" No.
So stuff. So right now it's probably a lot of that stuff. A lot of your stuff's probably in my boat right now. But
yeah, well, good. It's going to a good use.
Wade fishing, man, is absolutely awesome to do. Having the right gear definitely makes everything a whole lot easier and a whole lot better. The experience makes it. Having the right gear makes your experience better.
A lot better.
All right, so we had jig heads, different sizes. So what else do you carry in your in this bag? What else? What you got in?
I think
that
this guy's
bag?
got wipes in there and stuff. I don't know what those are
That's
for.
only when I go on the boat with you, bro.
Oh,
But,
those striped tacos. El
campeon.
campeón.
Some tamales.
The koozies.
Don't smell that.
Smells like Olive Garden.
Now I want to
carry a
smell it.
Smells like Olive Garden.
I got a lens wipe for your glasses.
Those are important.
Yeah.
Because man, nothing pisses me off more than just
What's that lighter
2
for?
drops of water on
What's the
there.
lighter for? For the knots to? Oh, that's to
I-
burn the ends of the.
I burn the tag end of my leader on the top of my FG knot, and it melts that mono down over it and just locks it in. This
Really?
knot,
Okay.
every now and again, it works like a Chinese finger trap, right? The way
Yeah.
you tie it, you just
just,
kind
like,
of
sit-
weave the braid
yeah.
over it, and then it tightens itself down on it, and it doesn't come out. Every now and again,
It slips.
somehow you'll get it right on a cast, and you'll kind of feel just a little boop, and you
There
go
it goes.
forward, and your leader just and like you're not still there, but it bumps back and loosened up enough that it came out. But you tie this knot and you tie a couple half hitches on the top, and then I just take it and I'll just get right up next to it and I just burn like a 1/4 inch. I'll leave like a 1/4 inch of that leader
Before you clip it.
He doesn't
So
see
you
it.
clip it, and then you
Yeah, no,
clip it, yeah.
I'll clip it down to maybe a 1/4 of an inch on top of
It
that
burns
knot, and then I just get it close enough to where it burns down and you can see it up
It
there.
thickens it up.
Yeah, you can see how it just
Stop,
kind
yeah,
of
prevents it from slipping
just
out. Yeah.
melt it down over the top of that, and it kind of locks it in, and that knot will last until I cut that
Cut it.
leader down.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? Too?
Yeah.
I have
No,
never
I-
seen
I-
anybody
yeah,
do
no.
that.
But that's why I carry the
Crazy
lighter.
white boy
Bro.
in the house.
And then that's the leader I use. If anyone's wondering, it's the Mason,
The Mason
30 pound
mono.
I've been using that as long as I can remember.
There you go.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying this is better than any other ones. I'm not
Just
saying
what you
this is the
use,
one
yeah.
you should use. I'm just saying this is my stuff. This is what
Well,
I
and it
use.
depends where you're from and what's available.
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, you may not be able to find this somewhere.
Well, I have this too. I don't know where I got it. Right, I got it from Victor.
From Monty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Made it clear.
Sam, come on, bro. We're losing out on gear, man.
I use
Yeah,
I use the
yeah.
Zuri.
Which one?
Zuri makes a small spool
Okay.
like this, also
Yeah, yeah.
leader
But
material.
it's the same thing. Like
That's
a
what
small
Albert
little spool
uses.
like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's
that's-
in the
that
pink.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Albert throws that stuff. He throws it in 25.
And the small one like this one too.
Yeah, and it's just And that's another thing too. Another
It's
reason I
easy
like
to
to use
carry.
this. It's a tiny
It's
little
really
spool.
small.
You can fit it in a tackle box, a pocket. It doesn't take up any room, and just to kind of empty out the rest of the bag, I carry a couple. This is just a regular flashlight here because I am out there after dark sometimes, and it's like trying to find you, come pick you up, whatever. Or if you just need to see, obviously. And then this is just it's a UV light that we sell actually, and it charges up the glow lures. So it's just a little UV black light. You can kind of see the red coming out there. But yeah, you just go back and forth, charges up the glows. The toxic root beer glows green right there too. So little plug.
Nice. Go ahead, help
But
yourself.
yeah, that's what I carry, And in the koozie, I like to drink energy drinks and cold waters.
Science.
So boom, keep it cold.
Good
So
stuff.
whoever wants to
Yeah,
sponsor,
hey,
like
science,
science,
seriously.
or
5 in the
bang.
I tag
morning.
them and everything. I'm like, hey, sponsor me. I have that's like a saved story on my Instagram, like just like 40 of them sitting there. Like,
I'm not kidding, bro. Be like, hey, we're gonna get 5 in the morning. This guy comes out with a damn science already.
That's the second one.
Like, damn,
Yeah, bro.
I was
I'm already like
damn,
3 deep.
dude.
Like, let's go.
Oh, shit, today I'm going to use it for my beer.
Yeah,
then, so.
yeah,
He's
there
like,
you go.
hey,
You can keep
So-
that.
so one thing-
I
one
found the
thing I
bump.
should-
I found the
You
bump.
see, I just cut out the middleman.
Yeah, there you go.
Just direct right there.
That's
Give
it.
it back, bro. I want it back.
All right, wait. Hold on.
Yeah, there we go. We got
All right.
Water
There we
bug,
go.
Got it.
There we go.
We
That's
have,
the way
we have
things
an agreement.
Gotta keep it- gotta keep it
Yeah,
going.
bro, just say, hey.
So one thing I didn't see here is so we talked about having a top water.
Yeah.
Do you carry top water in your bag as well
Um,
too, or any hard plastics or hard
When we
hard lures?
started making these lures a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago now, it was just for ourselves. And we got to a point that this was like all we were throwing.
Okay.
It was during the summer. We only had the one size and it was the right size, right bait, And so, we do have another couple of sizes now, not to kind of put anything out there that I shouldn't, but we're not really selling any other sizes, but we've got them. They're in the works. So at this point, about every
Are you
fish
talking
I've-
about these?
About every
These.
every single fish I've posted on my Instagram, on my social media, and Albert as well. There's maybe been 2 trips that we tied on a top water. One of them was just, not to say it's not phenomenal. I love throwing top waters. I've actually got a top water rigged up, not like the 212 style, but like with one of these literally directly on the back of it, a little spook. And I haven't really thrown it yet, but I carry it just because I get that itch. I want to get that blow up, that top water.
Yeah.
But I'll work these across the top. I've gotten
faster.
to a point where I've got,
With that
I've
132nd,
got-
it makes it pretty
Yeah.
easy to do it. Yeah.
and I've got a quarter in there too. If I'm dragging on the bottom for flounder, I've got an 1/8. I've got weedless. I've got jig. I've got jig heads from a 16th up to an 1/8, and then I've got a 1/4 ounce weedless just because that's going to be down in the grass and stuff. I would recommend throwing a jig head until you're forced to throw a weedless. I would rather have the exposed hook. Your hookup ratio is going to be better. And that's pretty much it right there. I'll even force it sometimes, even if I'm just kind of catching grass towards the end of my cast or whatever, I'll just fight it and keep a jig head on because some days that little bite matters, or that, you don't always get a great solid hook set. It hits when you're popping it up or something. You got to just, give it a quick pop. That jig head is going to stick a lot more often than that weedless one does.
Yeah.
And also the weedless, man, they grab it and it's in their mouth sideways or something. You yank it and
Comes
it
out.
might be a solid hook set, but they just, they got it like that, and it's not gonna, that weedless thing isn't gonna pop up through and catch them. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I always got the jig heads tied on, and then if it just gets grassy as hell and they're just in there or something, or we're shallow and there's a ton of floating grass and there's no way to get out of it, I'll put on a weedless. And that's not to say you're not gonna hook fish on a weedless jig head, but it's definitely, your hookup ratio is definitely going to be a little less with a weedless than it will with an exposed hook on a jig head. And this is just me knowing that I got all the different sizes of these that I want for the different situations. Sometimes they're hitting the smaller ones. Sometimes I'm throwing the bigger one, getting their attention, ripping it across the top, whatever. I can pretty much make any presentation I want with these lures. But then again, these are my lures. I've been throwing them for
You're
a long
comfortable. You can
time.
work
I've been
them
throwing
just the
them
same
every
way.
trip. Yeah.
And
And
have
I've
the same.
carried-
You can present them
I
different.
had one of these with, a couple of the Texas custom lure double D's. Carried a couple of the Leals.
Double D's.
Yeah, that's what they're called, bro.
Nice.
And then the Borboleta custom baits. I don't know if y'all seen those. Just a little twitch bait called the Leal. A couple of those.
Got some?
Top waters.
Yeah, Victor's got them.
Nah, I don't take those on Victor's boat. Those are a little pricey. But yeah, I mean, I've carried them, and I've been
Mexican,
a
what
huge
can I
top water
say?
guy my entire life. I just find myself putting on a weedless, weightless hook on one of these and ripping it across the top if I want that
Yeah,
top water thing.
Okay.
Not saying it's going to perform the same or give you the same action,
Right.
but like for me, it's like, okay, everything's just lined up perfectly for that. So I'm going to throw it and get a top water hit. You know, some people use them as search baits. You know, some people throw our lures kind of rigged under them that kind of pop and cork rig, 212 rig, whatever you want to call it. And I just, you know, I carried them for a month and didn't throw them, or I carried them for 2 months and didn't throw them. And, you know, we didn't start making these and I took everything out of my tackle box. I was like, oh, well, I haven't touched that in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, oh, well, I haven't, you know, I just
so that's
systematically knocked it down to this.
And what do you carry on yours when you go out there on your box?
In my box?
As far as lures or
lures, I mean, like I said, I always have 2 or 3 top waters with me, right?
Yeah.
So that's a must for me in my
and when the 2-3 top waters are different sizes or the same size and different colors,
same size, it'll be usually 2 bone and 1 chartreuse.
Okay.
So I just have a, you know, it's also about confidence in the
Yeah.
lures.
Yeah,
that you're throwing,
absolutely.
right?
100%.
yeah, we talked about that last part. That's what it is, man.
I don't know that I've ever caught a fish
Sam has no confidence,
on
bro.
a pink lure.
He's like, oh, I don't even want to go.
Right.
Sam, you got a boat, bro. Come on, man.
He'll go wade fishing and won't even take a rod.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
He just
He takes
him
a,
anyway.
dude, it's like 30 miles an hour wind. I'm gonna take my fly rod. Oh my god.
So, but yeah, top water definitely. When I throw, you know, this
I'm
year,
really not that bad.
for some
Nah, he's
reason,
not that
I
bad.
threw Kelly
voice.
Wiggler,
Okay.
that bone diamond willowtail.
Okay.
I'd put
Nothing wrong with those.
2 of those bags in my. I had a bunch of other lures, but it just seemed that was my go-to lure this year.
The bone color.
Bone color.
Let me ask you: have you ever used AM lures?
I haven't. No,
No?
first time I see them.
We're gonna hook you up
There you go.
with 5 boxes.
5 boxes and the ready gear.
Everything you need to go.
That's
I like this podcast
nice,
stuff.
guys.
So this is a Yeti bag. So
This thing is like the most badass bag I've found in a while. This thing costs like $50. It's waterproof, like completely. And I grabbed it and I would just throw one of those pocket boxes. I had this stuff on like a little pouch, and like that was all I carried. 1 or 2 of those boxes. This, you know, the grips and the stringer and the pliers. There they are. But yeah, this Yeti bag, man, you can put your phone in here, camera, GPS. I mean, whatever you want. That
now I'm gonna. Yeah, it's a good. I'm gonna buy me one now.
yeah,
buy 2.
No, seriously,
Buy
like,
2.
Yeah, there you go.
You'll never hear me
For my
recommending
own.
these products because they're expensive as hell, and there's a lot of stuff out there that does the same thing. I have not found another bag like this. It's literally just Velcro and magnets, and like it's in and out quick. It's waterproof. Like, I mean, this thing, and I've had it for about 2 months now, and I've beat the absolute shit out of it, and it's still waterproof. It's still
It's
solid.
still
There's
solid.
no-
It's still going hard, huh?
Yeah, like none of these. I mean, and they got a million different ways you can freaking.
And I haven't thrown a
strap
top
this
water
thing
in a
on,
while,
this and
man.
that, and
Spoons.
I've just got like some 50-pound mono here.
I'll throw a few spoons every
Friends
once in a
and
while. Once I can,
whatever.
if I do need a weedless setup, I'll throw a spoon.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I mean, Roy catches a lot of fish too, right? So
Yeah.
Roy posts a lot of pictures.
Oh,
he likes
yeah.
throwing spoons out there, and Roy throws everything, man. And
Spoons will catch them just
Yeah.
fine,
Roy will
man.
catch fish
There-
and
there's,
Roy-
there's a million ways to catch them. There's a million products out there to catch them on. You know, these are just mine. This is
it's,
what I
it's
use.
that confidence, right?
Yeah,
It's like
you know,
just.
I'm not saying this is the end all be all. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like this is something I
It's
use.
what you like. This is what you fish
Yeah.
with. This is what works for you.
Exactly.
And that's
Hey,
it.
lures-
You go and you have a
lures,
good time with it.
I'm convinced lures are made to catch the fisherman, right?
Yeah.
Because you see that
Some
lure,
of
like,
them are.
man, that one's shiny. I like that one, and you buy that. You know,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you use what works for you, what you've
Yeah.
used, and
Yeah,
You'll
we
be
talked
successful
about
that
that
way.
the other day too. Like there's a lot of different colors. We really can simplify it down
So-
into 4 colors that are really kind of what you need to
You
get.
said lures are made to catch the fisherman. I agree to an extent, right? Because you can buy it and you can have it in your box all day, but if you don't throw it, you're gonna catch nothing on it. So it only caught you.
But it
Yeah,
caught
that's
you.
what
you
we're
go
saying.
and
It
throw
caught you.
it.
Yeah.
So you're
then-
saying it depends on the fisherman.
Yeah, it depends on the fisherman. So when I first started, I was like, man, pink.
But you really can't.
There's another one that these guys have that he
But-
don't even have it here. It's called blue crab,
Yeah, dude. Bro.
You do? and it's kind of like one
that's
of
the only
those
one I
lures
use,
that you're
man.
like, ah. And I was
No.
like, man, that I'm gonna use that. Lure.
honestly like
Boom, man.
that's
Right
the only one.
now,
That's the only
it's
thing
gonna
I
get-
use. Like I don't care. Like I know
it's
we're
gonna
somewhat
get
like
good.
Monty said have different colors, and I do have them with me. But that's
Yeah,
the
this
only
one,
that's
man.
the only lure I throw.
Guys, winter's coming. Get yourself some of
Right out.
these.
But
I mean, they work for me.
Right.
They work for me.
And like I said, it's about confidence.
Absolutely.
I see a bunch of people posting pictures and they've got pink lures on there, right? And so I'll buy pink lure every once in a while, and I'll throw it 3 times, and I don't catch a fish.
That's
I'm
it,
like,
right?
ah,
That's it,
well,
yeah.
jala, no
Yeah.
jala, este no jala.
Back to the bone
Back-
diamond.
Yeah, bone diamond, willowtail, and all of a sudden there it is, right?
But-
But it's about confidence.
Yeah.
at the end
But
of the
even
day.
like the comment around like catching fishermen, like so we talk about a lot of people really just enjoy getting out there and
Yeah.
catching fish or whatever. But a lot of people like the preparing and the preparation for everything that goes into it,
Yeah.
right? And so like there's a lot of
That's
time
part
that
of
goes
for
into
'em.
it.
Yeah.
And going to academy and like looking or whatever your store is looking at all these lures, like, oh man, I wonder what about this?
Everybody likes to shop.
Yeah, everybody likes to shop, right? It's just like yeah,
Maybe not at the same store, but everybody's got somewhere
yeah,
they
it's
like
the
to
same
walk
thing,
around
right? And they just
look at
enjoy that,
stuff
right?
and
There's
buy
something
stuff.
that,
It
and it's
feels
like yeah,
good,
it costs $4 or $5, whatever it
Yeah.
costs you.
Or
But
looking for something your buddies don't have yet.
Yeah,
or, you
yeah,
know,
they're-
yeah. It's kind of part
Yeah.
of the whole deal.
Secret
yeah.
weapon.
I have
Yeah.
one of my
About the
buddies
secret weapon.
exactly like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'll tell anybody what I'm catching them on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna be like,
or,
oh,
tell us where you're catching
Yeah.
them too.
Yeah.
well,
that's
that's a different story.
so,
But, I'll give general areas if you would like, but I'm not gonna do it on here because there's a lot of people watching.
yep. So
Yeah, Roy says he's got about 8 different packs, and he always keeps on going back to the plum and chartreuse. And
Yeah.
and he, the comment before that, he put confidence, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
confidence. We had another guy who, when I started fishing with AM lures, he's like, ah man, you know, he was used to DSL, and DSL is a great lure. I've
Yeah,
used
I
that
fished
many
them
times.
for many years,
yeah,
yeah.
and I've caught many fish on them. And when I started using these, I just kept that confidence. I knew they were going to be good, and boom, they hit. And after that,
Yeah.
I haven't put them down ever since then.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that
And-
top water is not, you know, that it's better or nothing. It's just it's
And
preference.
every lure
Yeah.
has its situation, right?
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
situation asks or calls for a lure.
Yeah.
Water clarity, you know, it
Yeah,
just
100%.
all those different things.
A lot of
plays
variables
matter.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've
That's
kind
what-
of exhausted the whole tackle stuff. So we talked about just having different soft plastics,
Yeah.
different colors, having some top waters, having some jig heads, but the essentials that your grips, your pliers, your stringers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about just actually like
You got a question from Monty?
yeah, what's waiting for AM Lures to come out with
It's a plum chartreuse.
a plum chartreuse.
maybe.
Bro.
In there somewhere.
Oh, you mean like that one?
Oh, there it is. So you can have this
It's called
one. Right?
Purple Haze, bro. Look it up.
Actually, I'll put this in my pocket, Ron.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you.
He'll save it for you.
I'll
There's
save
your-
it for you.
You got a sample there.
Whenever you take me fishing.
Maybe-
Actually, Roy invites me to go
Yeah.
fishing
Maybe
a lot. and I
maybe,
just can't
maybe
go.
Roy
There you go.
maybe Roy's man kind of like that, like plum top chartreuse tail. Like instead of
Yeah.
plum,
Right.
you know, that's what he
Traditional.
probably would. Yeah,
See, we
traditional.
don't do the
Traditional.
tails
Yeah.
yet. You know, we
Yeah.
might get into that when we get a little bit heavier production stuff. But for right now, it's a durability thing. Any
Yeah.
bait that's got a tail that's not dipped for that color is gonna break right where those two colors come
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
So if you got a chartreuse tail and a purple bait, and it's
Welded
not like
together.
a purple bait that
Where
they
they're
dip
fused
the
together.
tail, it's a chartreuse plastic and a purple plastic, and they're pushed together. That's where it's gonna break.
You know how they
right
do
there.
them? You know how they make them? They get a lighter, like
Yeah.
you.
They just cut it and melt them and
the
stick
way you
them.
made that line, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
so
But,
let's talk about just actually like let's move on and talk about weighting techniques. So let's talk
We'll get you a
about
pack, bro. We'll get you a pack. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, let me get it for you. Hey, bro, can you get him a pack?
I'll get you a pack.
Okay,
and
you give me a
I'll
pack.
get it, I'll get it,
give
I'll
it to
get-
Sam. Sam will give it to you.
Pass it up.
You give some to Ted.
It'll
Ted,
have-
give some back to
By the time it comes to me, it may only have one
Yeah,
left.
yeah,
but a
it's-
lot of fish.
It's gonna go from an 8-pack to like a 3-pack by the time he gets it.
Yeah.
But
You said you wanted
a
a one, right? Here you go.
You want to- just to try it out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about weighting techniques. All right, so you have your tackle, you have your gear. Someone that doesn't know very much, so you got. Let's assume that they're going out with a buddy on a boat, right? So let's talk about. All right, you get dropped off, and all right, so what do you do after you get dropped off?
Stop walking so fast.
Stop walking so fast.
I don't
I-
care how fast you think you're going. If
Slow
you know,
down.
if it's like I'm gonna walk this 1,000-yard bar and just see if there's fish here, or you just want to cover water, okay, that's yeah. But for the most part, it's like you're gonna get off and you're gonna throw 5, 6, 10, however many fan casts you want. You know, I'll usually throw about 5 or 6 before I really start walking
as
forward.
you just kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
walking forward a little bit.
you know, pretty much just as far to perpendicular to which way you're facing as the wind will let you. You know,
Right.
sometimes you can just cast in a whole circle. I would recommend that, but sometimes you can cast at a straight 90 each way, and then a 45, and then I'll just throw straight in front of me, and then I'll walk 10 steps. Or I'll be walking really slowly as I'm doing that. But
Yeah.
I want to fan cast as wide as I can and cover as wide of a swath of water as I can, and just work the crap out of it. And I will catch fish, fan cast and catch one over here, not gonna move if I catch a fish, even if I miss a fish. Like my feet stop, I'm planted, and I'm gonna throw at least 4 or 5 more times in that area. 'Cause chances are there's another one hanging out there with it. You know, yesterday was a prime example. I got dropped off on the backside of a spoil island.
Where was
and
that spoil island?
It was.
Where were
Just-
you
just off the
yesterday?
gut,
yeah.
by the gut.
I'm gonna say it was south of Port Mansfield.
Was it near
And
water?
north of
Anyways.
Port Isabel.
Exactly. It was in between Mansfield and Isabel. And
You know, I tell everybody where I go fish, bro. Like, where'd you catch those fish? I was down a lake, bro. Down a lake, you can't go wrong with down a
By the
lake.
drum boat.
Yeah, with the drum boat.
By the drum
Straight
boat.
up.
Canal Cuates.
En el relámpago.
yeah. But and you know, I didn't catch a ton of fish on this walk because it was like a 30-minute walk. You know, it's the last one of the day, right at sundown. I think I ended up with like a red and 3 or 4 trout out of it. But it was like I got dropped off. I walked 20 yards. I caught a 12-inch red, and I stopped and threw
That's a keeper, right?
back in that same 5-foot radius that I caught that one in. And I caught an 18. You know, I caught a 16, and I caught like a 22.
And so you
all those-
stopped, right? So
I
you were
stopped, and it was like an area the size of this little room. It's, you know, that's I'm touching both these walls. This is not a large area.
No,
You
it's
know,
really
and they
big,
were
man.
just
Come on.
there, you know, and it was a little drop that we were fishing, but it was like they were right there in that little area. I didn't go walk over it to see if there was a little dip or something in there because obviously that's where the fish were. I didn't want to spook them, but caught them there. You know, kind of slowed down, so kept walking, and I'm fan casting too. You know, I'm casting up at the shore. I got a shoreline here, so I can't throw to my left. Right, it's just land. So I'm throwing perpendicular to it, and then I'm fan casting out this way, and I'm walking up a little bit, fan casting out that
How
way.
deep of water were you wading in?
I was standing about knee deep, and so I was throwing it up into the knee deep stuff. There was a grass line there between me and the island, and then I throw one like up onto the grass, and then on the other side of the grass is where it sloped down. I would kind of throw right on that slope, and then I throw one out
I
into the
know
deeper
that spot.
shit and bring it back up onto that
I
slope.
know that spot.
And so it was like I caught all those redfish bunched up in that one little area. I walked out, you know, and caught a little trout here, fan casted, didn't get another one, another 30 yards up, and then I caught like 3 trout, same thing, out of just one little. I didn't see a pocket there. I didn't see anything. I just caught that fish there.
By going slow.
I stopped, you know, fan casted, then threw back in there and caught another one. You know, like literally right on top of where that one just got caught. It's not always going to be like that. It's just an example from literally yesterday that I had walked. And, you know, certain species of fish too, like flounder. If you catch a flounder, like stop and throw like 30 casts,
Same spot.
20 casts, what it like right where you caught it. Just fish that whole
They grew up
wherever
with
that
these-
fish hit it. Imagine like a 20-yard radius around it, and like don't leave a blade of grass there untouched with your lure. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
that-
that's the thing about flatties is you know,
Yeah.
you've got to work it. I mean, and like I said, if you get a bump, whether you hook it or you don't hook it,
yeah.
there's usually going to be a couple laid up
In that
right
area?
next to that
Yeah.
fish. Yeah.
They ain't there on accident, you know.
Yep.
Very seldomly they're there on accident. If
Or
they
they're
are.
by
I'm not
themselves,
not
yeah.
gonna speak in absolutes. Let me put it that
Ab-
way. But
I
for the
think
most
that's
part,
absolutes.
yeah.
I don't catch a lot of flounders, so I
Another-
wouldn't know.
Yeah. Another thing, if you know, especially for somebody new to the weight fishing thing, right? And you get dropped off in an area, you may not know the area because you're just kind of getting to the weight fishing thing, and so a lot of times it's just studying the water a little bit,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You may see mullet jumping off to the left a little bit, and then not so much, or you may see
Yeah.
pockets, sand pockets. and
Adjust
so
your
you can-
line.
you wade towards those areas, and again, it's all about slowing down, taking your time. Different presentations, slow it down, speed it up, and you'll find all of a sudden you fish a little faster, and all of a sudden you're getting that pop, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's more of an instinctive
Hone in on whatever.
hit. So
Whatever they're like.
just focus on those.
Pay
little
attention to
details.
what you're doing. Because if you catch a fish and you can't remember how you were working it, that fish didn't teach you anything.
Yeah.
If you know how you're working it and you're not catching fish, and then like he said, you speed it up and work it a little higher in the water column, maybe it's a little bit more of a reaction strike, and then, okay, now you can replicate that, and you can duplicate it, and you can keep working it fast. You can pattern the fish, and you can figure out what they want that day right then.
Yeah.
Because
It
sometimes they
changes,
do-
right?
yeah.
It'll change.
Even if the bite's crazy, maybe they're just sitting on the bottom and they want everything on the bottom. They're not going to rise up through 2 or 3 feet of water to go get your lure. Maybe they're feeding on the top, and if you drop it down underneath them, they ain't going to see it. So it's figuring that out, and then but paying attention to what you're doing and how you're doing it, so that when you do have success, you do catch a fish, you can go, okay, I'm going to do that again. And then you do it again and again. And that's how you kind of develop these patterns. And I'm talking on a really like micro scale, like you're in that spot, those fish that day, right then.
That's how they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And also pay attention to the guys you're fishing with.
yeah.
Because
Yeah. If you got guys on either side of you,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
They're
I was gonna
catching-
ask that. So you go wade fishing for the first time. You all take somebody with you and they want to wait. What do y'all do? Do you all not hold their hand, but you keep them close to you?
Yeah,
You
you
know,
stay
what
close
was
to
it,
'em.
20
Yeah,
yards,
'cause you
30
know,
yards?
again, you always
yeah,
wanna
20,
set
30,
people
40
up.
yards.
You want to
Yeah.
set people up to succeed also, right? Because
Yeah.
if they don't succeed at it,
Yeah, they're gonna give up. They're
They're
not gonna
gonna
Well,
get
it
it
depends
again.
on the
Right.
spot too.
Yeah, I take a line cutter's ring and I just
so
that was my fish.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, we
right.
used to tell our
I
buddies.
let them string it first. Then I cut the stringer.
We used to look across the water and it looked like our other buddy was wearing a backpack, but it was the other guy he had with him. I mean, they were on top of each
Oh,
other
yeah.
sometimes,
Oh,
right? But and again, when you're and again also you've got experience and sometimes we go out for fun, and that's the thing is to teach, right?
Yeah.
You want to teach and spread a little bit of that knowledge. And so, I'm not afraid to have somebody right next to me and we're talking about what we're doing or how
Yeah.
we're doing these or why we do these things, right? So, because again, it's about, also
Yeah.
passing it on and passing it forward to the next guy and hopefully they're successful and they enjoy it and then they pass it on to somebody
Yeah.
else. Right?
And they want to go more.
And they
Yeah.
want to go more, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, that's what it's all
And
about.
like the willingness to learn is like such a huge thing. Like you were saying, like you got to have someone on your boat with you that is wanting to pay attention to that and ain't going to be out there just acting like
Right.
a know-it-all or this and that.
Right.
Like I'm not. I don't try. I try not to act like a know-it-all. I
Yeah,
come
you
off
do.
that way sometimes. But
Does
like
he try to act like a
Yeah.
oh, shit, man, I just gave her a rod and she said get out of the way. Like no, I'm not pointing at him. Just
Yeah.
secret guest over here. But yeah, man, and it. And I was saying it depends on the spot. If we're just out there waiting in open flat, and I know they're just hanging out in the area, or maybe it's a big gut or a big bowl or a big drop or whatever it is. Okay, we can spread out a little more and give everybody room to kind of do their own thing. Maybe it's a huge school of fish and they're just spread out over this large area. Maybe we're fishing a freaking 20, 30-yard grass line where it's literally three of us standing 10 feet apart from each other and we're just hammering flounder on this grass line, left and right. Maybe it's a little gut that they're sitting in the very back end of, and so you got 3 or 4 people, and hopefully not that many, but you got a couple of guys or your buddy with
Spread
you,
out, yeah.
close to you, and you're fishing the same thing, the
Yeah.
same piece of structure. So that kind of plays a factor in that as well. But as far as like you got someone out there that's never done it before or whatever, stay within
20, 30
close
yards.
walking distance of
Yeah.
each other. So if something does happen and they need
You're
help,
there to
maybe
help,
they
yeah.
get a good fish and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go help them land
Yeah.
it or something like that.
And that's
too.
the important
Yeah.
part too,
Yeah.
is because it's one thing to wade fish, but it's another thing if you land a good
Landing a
redfish,
fish.
landing
Yeah.
it,
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, well, let's talk.
Put
I'm
that in the
writing
notes.
it down
Yeah.
right now.
That's
learning
okay.
how to hold that
Well,
rod and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know being able to.
Before we get there, so we talked about kind of approach. Let's answer Fabian's question. So Fabian was talking around your fan casting and kind of your speed at what you move. So you're fan casting in each direction and you're moving slowly and then you stop but you're maintaining that same pace the entire time, or
Yeah.
sometimes you go faster,
Yeah,
it
sometimes you go
depends.
slower.
I'm walking till I get a hit.
Yeah.
So I'm walking and I'm casting and I'm casting, and at the same time as I'm walking, I'm
But is it a
fanning out.
fast walk or is it a slow walk?
Pretend you're at the mall with your wife.
And you're not shopping for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, don't pretend
Yeah,
you're at
exactly.
academy. You're no, because then you lose all
Yeah.
the fish.
That's too fast. All right, that's
So-
a good way to think
So
about it.
I walk, he's talking about the 8-10 cast. So I walk and I'm casting, and like they're saying, I'm throwing different ways. If I get a bump,
Stop.
that means that I'm stopping.
Yeah.
If I get a hookup, that means I'm definitely stopping.
Yeah. If you get a
Yeah.
bump and miss it too, throw right the fuck back there.
Throw there,
Yeah.
and then after you catch some fish, you stay there, and then you don't catch any more fish. Then okay, you continue with your walk, and that's the way I do it. So that's
Yeah.
the way I wade
Yeah.
when I
Yeah,
wade.
exactly. It's kind of like, if you get out a lot and, you were out here 2 days ago and you got off right here and that's where you caught them. All right, I'm going to be moving really freaking slow. I got happy feet. Like I can't stand still. I have a hard time
That's
doing
why I
it.
am, dude. I
So I'll
gotta
kinda-
do something.
Yeah, I'll kind of just like really slowly walk and I'll cast to my left. And I might take 2 or 3 steps that way towards that cast. And then I'm going to cast, back that way, take just a couple steps
Yeah.
toward that one. So I'm staying in the same line, but I just kind of like to keep my feet moving. Like I said, if I catch a fish, I stop. Like my feet quit moving. I just start looking around, scanning, maybe I can see another fish or see something to indicate why they're there, what they're feeding on, whatever. But I am going to just stop and throw I'll usually throw 8 to 10 casts before I'll move forward if I catch a
that's
good
what he's-
fish.
that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and it's like if I know the fish are there,
Leo.
I ain't moving. If
Leo
it's
was-
like,
to the fish. Yeah, he does,
I was
bro.
gonna say like,
Man, Leo
like
fucking fishes. He's calm, bro.
Leo and Homer, man. Like,
Homer.
like
One time I fished with Homer, man, he looked like he was sweeping. It was like he wasn't waiting like this.
Right.
He was waiting like
yeah,
this.
yeah, and that's what I'm talking about.
He was waiting
about
like
to
this,
get
and I
to
was
that
just like,
zigzagging,
damn.
yeah.
That day, me and
Oh,
Leo I probably had no fish. Leo probably had like 2 or 3. Dude, the Homer was limited out.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he lost the stringer, so he was pissed because he's the only one that caught fish.
Homer
and he
can
lost
walk
the
on
stringer.
water. Homer and Leo both can walk
Man,
on water,
yeah.
man. They're just like so
Well,
I
Leo's got wet
You know, maybe-
feet, so he's
maybe
just like
Yeah.
he just floats there, man.
Maybe you were out 2 weeks before and you just know, or you think they're still going to be in that same area, but they're not quite in that. You hit that first spot that you think they're going to be in, you work it slow, you work it well, and you catch maybe 1 or 2 fish. You don't do well. And it's like about, okay, now I'm going to try to locate the fish. And some people will just say, oh, I'm going to drift until I catch them and then hop off. Some people want to do that in the water. Like he was saying, the back and forth thing, if it's like, it'll happen a lot like on a really high pressure, just dead calm, no wind kind of day. They'll be just sitting down and you just got to outwork them. That's when I'll just turn it on and start zigzagging back and forth. I'm fan casting the whole time, but I'm zigzagging. I'm throwing something really natural that I got just complete confidence in. You're searching the water, and then you do get that bite, and maybe you catch 1 or 2 there, or maybe that's where they are and you're locating them. Whether it's one of those days or you just don't have them pinpointed, or you want to cover this area, or maybe you want to just, see where the bite stops. Like you're catching fish like crazy. And I'll just start freaking walking back and forth up there, just not through the fish and ruining it for anyone else that you might be with. But, if you're on the end of the line and you're catching fish, maybe start working out way wide. And wherever that stops, you can kind of really narrow in the fish, what area they're in, how spread out they are, what size the school is, maybe if it's a bunch of redfish or something, are schooled up. But it's a little bit of like an exploration factor,
Well, and even
right?
size of the
Finding some
fish.
new stuff.
Even size, you
Yeah.
may be in one spot and you're catching a bunch of,
Yeah,
like you said,
yeah, yeah.
16, 18 itchers, and you walk 30 foot to the right, and all of a sudden you're catching
Boom.
keepers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that
Right.
usually the way?
So-
kind of you experience like if you find like a school like of small
Sometimes
size, or they're
that-
like all small.
It's all day to day,
And
right?
that's the importance of throwing.
Yeah.
Standing, and,
You know,
and
you
that's,
don't
there's
just throw
a saying.
front.
There's also kind of a rule that
I even
we
throw
can
back.
switch
I even sometimes
backwards.
go.
Yeah.
That's why I like.
I'll turn around
spinning.
every now and again and throw on the edges of my.
That's why I like spinning.
Yeah,
You create a mud line when you walk.
Or going
And
back
I'll-
to the boat. No,
Yeah.
just start fishing.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
where I
and-
catch
They-
them.
they- He's
Al-
talking,
always
right
be
now,
casting. Don't ever stop casting.
Roy is saying, Leo, he's a fish magnet, man. So just Leo, he's talking about Leo Cavazos. I fished with him for a long time, and this guy had him fish, and we probably went every single day, every single week.
Is that Leo right there?
I got you, bro.
And
It's-
he hadn't been. Remember we were talking about it. He
Yeah.
hadn't been in 2-3 months, man. He's
Yeah.
got a really nice boat. He was just like, nah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. He goes out, slams reds like nothing. He's just like, he gets
I'm
on
gonna
him, man.
take him on here right here. So we've got Roy calling us in too. So Roy's been asking a lot of questions on
Hey, what's up,
and
Roy?
kind of putting a lot of stuff. Hey Roy, can you hear us? Hold on, let me a second here. Hey Roy, can you hear us?
There.
All right.
there you go.
Hey man,
There
so
you go.
yeah,
What's going on, Roy?
what's going on, bud?
What's going on?
Now we're just here. I mean, obviously you got a lot of questions. So Roy does a lot of wade fishing too. So
What else
Roy's
is up
just
there?
like the rest of you guys out here, where he gets off the boat and he doesn't fish off the boat. Like he's just this mindset where he's just as soon as he gets on the water, he's going to do it, and he's done really
He's in
well
his
this
zone.
year.
He's
So
doing
yeah,
his thing. Yeah.
so Roy, what I mean, based on what we talked about here, what are things that that are different, or things that you agree with based on what we said?
No, everything you're saying, I agree with. I mean,
What about anything
guess-
that you do different, like or your techniques, your style?
Use croaker.
Well, I've been out there in tournaments. Hey, remember, it's all about having
just
fun.
kidding, bro.
It's
I'm
all
just
about
kidding.
Yeah. All right, put me in my place. There you go.
I'm hating, man.
Just a little bit.
But
I fish a lot of tournaments, so I mean, us slowing down and getting dropped off and all that. So it just kind of covers so much ground in a certain amount of time. Work it slow.
A little bit
Work
of
as
that.
much.
there's also kind of
Yeah.
working through the fish, right? Trying to get the one you need.
Yeah.
You know, something
usually-
that's
Well, that's
You're gonna-
that's a
you're
different
gonna
that's a different conversation. So we've been actually trying to set up a podcast regarding
Oh.
tournament fishing. So how tournament fishing your strategy is different than say
Yeah.
you're going out for fun and
Good.
having a day fishing.
Yeah, because you're gonna get where the fish are most of the time, so you're gonna get dropped off thinking there's fish there. So you're already in your mind, you know what, there's gonna be fish there, but they'll drop you off 300-400 yards before you get there, and you just gotta work that area because you never know. Something else you can catch there before you get to the spot that you want to get to.
yeah.
Yep. So we were actually transitioning here to talk about landing fish. So let's talk about how you
I'd like
land
to-
a fish.
I want
Or-
to touch
go
on
ahead.
one more
All right,
thing.
good.
It kind of goes off of what he was saying about, fishing out away. You're catching 16, 18-inch fish. You're in a lot of smalls, whatever, moving out and trying to see where the edge of those fish are. Because a lot of times those heftier ones, a little smarter, are going to be hanging out on the edges of them, kind of picking up scraps or, little bait fish that get pushed out or little shrimp or stuff that gets, kind of just going off stray.
Opportunistic type.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're more just the easy meal, not expending a lot of energy. So a lot of times, maybe, or even if you're fishing the gut, maybe the front of the gut, where the tide's coming in, or all the little guys are sitting up there freaking picking off little bits. And then the bigger ones are going to sit a little bit further back in the gut towards the end where it gets up a little shallower and there's a little bit narrower water column, a little bit easier to grab the bait. They're not dumb, right? They got big for a reason. So it's like if you are looking for maybe a little bit better quality fish and you're not catching it, but you're in fish, disregarding maybe upsizing your lure or switching your presentation or something, but just walking around and trying to see where those fish end and then working that edge of them a little bit. A lot of people fish slicks and this and that, fishing the edges of slicks, all those little trout are up there busting shrimp, throwing
Right.
up this and that. Those bigger ones are going to be sitting down on the bottom, just waiting for that stuff to fall down, and they're just eating
Easy
the
stuff,
easy
yeah.
scraps, easy pick. It's free meals for them pretty
Yeah,
much.
they kind of earn their right, right?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of
Yeah.
they're like
Hey, Roy, I got a question for you. As a
Yeah.
tournament fisherman, when you're going out there, you take a net.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time. Especially if you're talking about money, so
100%.
you want to. I take a bogus and I take my bogus. I use it for weight to weigh the fish a little bit, but also I use a net. The one I use is that Forever Last, but the big one, that gray one,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Gray
gray
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You catch.
I used to use the orange one, but it's just too small. And then for
well, I don't.
They come
Not
up-
everybody's catching big fish, bro.
Well, man, you get a 26. You
Yeah.
get an upper side redfish, man, and
Yeah.
it flops right in that little orange
Yeah,
net. Or
I
you
bet,
get
yeah.
it sideways, it'll flop out of it, and maybe your lure gets hooked on. Adios, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
you know?
I've been seeing a lot of the bigger nets being
Yeah, you
used.
get one of those big Everlast nets, and those suckers are like a trash can lid, man. You 30-inch trout, it just swallows it.
It doesn't get on your
And-
way, man.
And it also makes it easy when you're going from your truck to your boat. I put everything inside that net.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wading boots, wading belt.
Yeah.
Everything is in there, and I carry
Okay.
everything to the boat before I get
Yeah.
kind of get dressed.
Hey, Roy, you don't feel like it's a big net and gets in your way?
why I use that big net
No,
is for flounder.
for flounder.
So yes, most of the time, and I have on my easy way, I did like a little in front, so the net always stays in front of me. So flounder fishing, I pop it off the floor, right? So as soon as I hit, I don't let that flounder come up in the water. So I just kind of scoop him when he's coming in. So that's why I got that big net. But for other than that, does it get in the way? Not the way I have it rigged up, just because I have it in front of me. A lot of people like to put on their string gear and all that. That to me is just you're looking for your string gear. You're trying to get a hold of it. And with me having it in front of me, it's a lot simpler. You just kind of scoop it up, and then I just pick up my rod up and just scoop up the whatever the red or the flounder. So usually, so
Yeah, I hear you there.
And when
I,
you're weight fishing, what pace are you keeping as you're going? Is it a slower pace? Is it a fast? What would you consider your pace?
most of the time I'm slow, but depends on if they're biting. If they're not biting, and
You call
Hey.
Leo.
That's what Victor does.
but that area I always usually fish it. So if I'm not hitting anything on the lure I've been using, that fire team, you walk a little bit faster, you try another spot. Keep going
Yeah.
until usually you'll find fish. You get dropped off and you have all the bait to work with. So
Yeah,
It's not-
change your line, change the depth. change it up if something's not working.
You
Yeah,
take water.
so-
You take water with you? Like you have a little
Yeah.
pouch for
Really,
water?
I have
Or?
on my I wear that sling, my Gatling sling. So I got when I get on the tournament, they gave me it's like you put a water bottle on it. So I have that, and I also put another water bottle. I carry 2 water bottles because I've been out there where you're like, I need water.
Yeah.
So usually I keep the other water bottle on my Easy Way belt in the back, and I just put it back there. But other than that, I mean, usually, you're gonna be on them. You're gonna be on them. You get me? So if you're not
Yeah.
catching anything, you can call them up. Hey, I'm not on fish. Come pick me up, and they'll drop you on another spot. So
When you're not on fish is when you get really thirsty.
Yeah.
When you're on fish, you're not thirsty. You're not
You're like,
hungry.
yeah,
or
let's go.
nothing.
So
While we're on the topic of water, though, too, that's
you remember about drinking water. So you're
yeah.
out there having fun, and you forget about drinking. And you just
yeah, I think that's where Monty's taking this right here.
You know, you get out there, like you sweat more when you're in the water than you do on, when you're up in the air, because your sweat evaporates, it cools you off. That's what it's made to do. If you're in really warm water, it's a really warm day, even you're beating the crap out of them, and you might not be sweating up top. You might feel cool, whatever. You're still sweating underneath, You're losing water. You need to be
you're
paying
outside,
attention
that's
to
so,
it, and you don't want to get dehydrated
It's
and have
like
a
Ted
heat
said, he
stroke or
learned
something
right.
out there
Yeah, I
by
learned.
yourself. You have an experience you'd like to share with us?
No, except for just wanting water and you couldn't have it.
Yeah,
just like your mouth
I'm telling you
dries up.
guys,
Yeah.
just drink salt water. That's what I do, man. It tastes great. I take some lemon, put some lemonade and shit.
Disclaimer: don't do that.
So
Look at my
it
hands.
sounds like so Roy has a similar setup here. So
Yeah.
it seems like everything that we talked about here in terms of equipment, he also uses the Easy Weight like Ted. So it seems like everybody's really and these are guys that wade fish a lot. So definitely if you're looking to get into wade fishing, just kind of the list that we went over here today's equipment wise is basically all you need.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for calling in, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, Leo is a fucking fish magnet, bro. It pisses me off, man. Like, I get
and
not
by the
fished for
way,
3
in the
months.
last minute, I got this for you, man. So next time you come up to get your rod, I got this for you,
Yeah, maybe he'll have a whole pack by then.
or half a pack, maybe.
Yeah, something. You'll have.
I hope so.
Oh man.
All right, bro. We'll talk to you later, bud. All right.
I would like to clarify that I don't carry a net a little bit out of laziness.
Okay.
He was saying he carries all this stuff in it. I got a Sims taco bag, which is awesome. By the way, if you're wanting to look it up or something, it's made for like in the winter when you got your waders on, this and that. It literally opens up into a circle on the floor, and that's all it is a bag. Like it's got some vents in it, and it's for your like wet waders, your wet boots, just all your nasty gear that you're not going to put in the truck, you're not going to put in your bag. It's all nice and packed and clean before. But then when you get off and you got mud and fish and crap all over, it's like, I don't want to put that in the truck. I don't want them to blow out of the back, So you put it all in that bag. And I kind of got to a point where I just dump all my crap in that bag. It's shaped like a taco. I mean, it's just a half circle and it opens up on a full circle so you can stand on it. So you're not standing on like gravel or anything, and
You're
your wader
standing in the
booties
bag
and
and-
putting holes in it. Yeah, you're standing
Fix it
on the
up.
bag. But yeah, I just started carrying all my crap in that thing, and
I just carry all my crap on the boat.
yeah,
Leave it in there.
yeah. If you have a boat to put all your crap in, that's yeah.
That's the way
I like
do
to
it,
fish
so.
on my buddies' boats though, so
Oh.
I like to carry all my stuff in a bag.
I'll be
I
there
like to
soon.
take my-
But yeah,
So-
so I just kind of it got more of a hassle than something I really felt that I needed. I don't get too upset when I lose a fish. If I'm fishing a tournament, money's on the line, I'm carrying a net 100%.
It's it.
But that lends
yeah.
itself well to
Yeah.
you
You
kind
got
of.
dehydrated.
No, I'm
Yeah, what's
never
the
gonna
water
admit
story?
that I did,
Let's hear
right?
it.
But yeah, no, like I said, there's a lot of times we get dropped off early,
It's cool, and the sun's not
yeah,
out yet.
and it's nice. You don't even think about it. You get off because you're
Slapping
ready to go.
mosquitoes.
You're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
So you get dropped off, and they may
I bet
be
you
on
Tessie
fish.
sleeps with his waders on, bro.
Oh man,
Like that first day of school.
Yes,
See when your clothes on.
You can't sleep, man.
He's got his waiting bag.
just to
Yeah.
make sure they still fit. You put them on, and yeah, no, I guarantee you, I thought about it, but
Still picture with the waiters.
Just like this all night.
I will admit that I've had dinner a few times in waiting booths.
There's nothing
So,
wong with that. They're
yeah.
comfortable, man.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
like you said, you get the right ones. You can wear them all day, and they're
But you
right.
could definitely forget to drink water. You're out there having
You
fun.
Oh,
can.
yeah,
and
yeah.
you
No,
forget.
definitely. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not even about forgetting; it's just not being prepared.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. So when I used to kayak, one time I went from Port Mansfield and I went all the way to the Benicheck area, and I was at the West Bay and getting to Payton's.
which is like 10 miles.
It's long. It's a long.
Just
hike.
One way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a kayak isn't a chinga. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, right? So I went
It's a
out
lot.
there and I took some Gatorades, and I finished my Gatorades, and it was hot as hell. And what happened was I had to take a leak, and there was a bunch of boats, so I just took a leak in the Gatorade, and I put it on the back of the kayak, bro.
No.
And yes, I was so thirsty. Like I was so thirsty that I literally grabbed it. I opened it, and as soon as I hit my I freaking realized what I was doing. I spit it out.
So you didn't know what you were doing until it sounded.
man.
It
I
sounded
thought
like
you-
that's where
I
you're
thought
going
you-
with
Nah,
that.
Grilled it. I thought you were out there,
bro. I thought it was Marquez, bro.
It's been 3 days.
I'm gonna drink some meows right here.
There's all these
But
gates in here.
it was because I was dehydrated, and I was just wanted to drink
Yeah.
something, and I was
Yeah.
just like, damn, man, it was
That's-
crazy.
Yeah. So needless to
So-
say, was that a good day of
Especially
fishing
if you're
though?
doing
It was a good day of
something physical like
fishing.
I didn't
kayaking,
know
yeah.
that.
It was a good
Yeah,
day
no.
of fishing.
So-
And that's when I started drinking salt water.
Yeah.
So piss or salt water? Screw it, salt water.
Same.
it is.
Yeah.
So all right, so we're kind of talked about having a net, and the purpose you would have a net is for landing fish. So let's kind of make that jump here. So now let's talk about. I mean, a lot of people break rods or whatever when they're
Yeah.
trying to land fish. So let's talk about how you guys land a fish.
If you reel down too close to the fish and lift it up, it's called high sticking, and that's how you break the rod.
Yeah.
You reel down, there's only a couple of feet of line, and you got a 7-foot rod, you can't reach that fish, right? So when you're landing it, you pick the rod straight up. You got to leave enough line to where that fish is just on the surface of the water. You want it, you want the weight of the fish kind of there. You want its head just barely poking out of the water is how you want to hold it. And it's going to go crazy in front of you sometimes, and you just kind of got to hope it doesn't throw the hook. You got a net, you can scoop it up or something real quick. That's just basically the basic movement. You get it up to you get it kind of tired out and ready to land, and you just keep it on the surface of the water, whether that's knee deep or whether you're waist deep, belly button, whatever, however deep you are, you want to keep it on the surface of the water. You want to keep at least that much line out of your rod. You want to keep the rod bent and keep pressure on the fish, but you want that fish right on the surface of the water. So you can just you can control it. You can
Swing
ease
it
it up
right
to
to
you.
you.
Exactly. And
It's gonna depend also on
pick the
the
rod straight up. I see a lot of guys
size of the
doing
rod.
the carrot and stick thing. Where they got, their 7-foot rod and they got it up like this high, and it's, the fish, and they're trying to reach it and they're walking forward and they're just chasing it, And so it's kind of like, man, you just let a little more line out, pick that fish right up to you, and
And
scoop it up.
I fish a real light drag anyway, right? So I fish bait cast all the time, and so as I'm working that fish and getting it closer, I'll thumb just a little bit so where that drag, he's not peeling so much drag once he's tired out a little bit, right? So as I bring him in a little closer, and I'll reach for my net and I'll kind of sweep him, and that's when I thumb it so that he's not pulling any more drag, and
Yeah.
I'll thumb it and I'll just kind of sweep him up towards me, and I can scoop him with that net. And if he does happen to go a little crazy, I just
release
let
the
that
pressure.
thumb go, and he'll take
He'll
a
take
little
that
bit of
drag,
drag, but not so much pressure
And that's
on that
throwing a
hook.
bait caster.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
throwing a bait caster. Yeah.
Don't
you
spin
can't
a
do that on a
rod.
spinning rod. Yeah.
Got a little less control over it.
I throw a spinning rod most of the time, and I use my drag tight. So I had an incident recently. It was
Yeah.
I had my drag just too tight. Fish came up literally at the very edge of when the lure was about to get out of the water. It just slammed it. It went under me and it broke my rod.
Oof.
It's never
that
happened to me
happens.
before.
No, but that happens.
but it was just my drag was too tight. It
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that
Yeah.
fish to come. I had gotten a hit, and then I set the
following.
hook. It came off. When I was bringing the hook to throw back, that's when it literally chased. But it wasn't chasing it. Like usually you can see the weight coming behind it.
Yeah.
Like it literally came from the
it
bottom.
Came up out of the grass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you
just-
down there.
It was
it
sitting
was
down there
boom
just waiting, and
on
I
it.
swam over its face, and it was like, "Oh, give me!"
and it didn't give me a chance to.
Well, did you land it?
Yeah, I landed it.
Hell
I
yeah!
landed it. But it
So it
didn't
was
give me a
broken
chance
rod,
to
though.
do anything. Like it was just like I had the
expensive
rod. It's
fish.
just boom, and that was it. But yeah, I
Yeah.
landed it. But one thing that I do think about when you're weight fishing is the length of the rod.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that rod was a 7.3, so it's a little too big for for weight
Yeah.
fishing.
It's a lot of
Be-
rod.
Yeah, because you're going. And the other rod that I have is a 6.6, and it just makes a whole
we're
lot of
short,
difference.
right? Or I'm short, right? So I need something. I got short arms and
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
everything's.
If you fish with short people, don't believe them when they say, "Oh, you can go drift over there," or it's only like ankle. It's only like knee deep. Yeah, that's like this big, bro.
So what length of
yeah.
rod do you guys use? when you're waiting?
Mine a lot of 6.6.
6.6.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a little extreme with it. I've got a 5.9. That is my preferred rod. I use a anywhere from a 5'9" to a 6'2". I carry 3 different rods. I carry a medium light, a medium, and then I like to call it an extra medium. It's just a little like a really fast action medium. It's a 6-foot rod, and that's for throwing a 1/4 ounce, bigger baits, maybe a bigger topwater, throwing corkies in the winter. Even one of these, like I said, with like a 1/4 ounce jig head, is enough to load it up and get it out there. And even maybe if I'm throwing a weedless hook and I want a little more backbone to get that better hook set.
I guess that's for you.
Who?
For Rick. The guy on the left, my left, his left. The guy on the left is super hot.
Like, you mean because the AC isn't working?
Me.
I fished that.
She's talking about the AC. What size? You said 5'9"?
Yeah, I build my own rods though, so that's kind of just one I put together for myself that I like a lot. We're out there wade fishing. It's not a lot of rod. I'm not really sacrificing any casting distance with it because I am throwing a bait caster.
Given that 6'6", 6 foot, I had a 7'3". I know that we're gonna be coming out with the Palo Rojo as more as a production. What size of rod is that?
That's a 6'6", a 7 foot, right? Yeah. So you can get them in both lengths.
Those are the production ones.
Right.
We're gonna be doing a wading version. It's gonna be 6'2". That's actually what this one is here. If you want to
yeah. So this definitely it's a.
So this is my medium light. It's a bait caster, which as far as wade fishing goes, I would give the upper hand to. Not for any like, oh, you're a badass because you use a bait caster reason, like a lot of people think, but it's like spinning just the ergonomics of it. This is on top of the rod, so if I'm fishing in waist deep water, like I can have my arms relaxed and I don't have to worry about this reel going underwater.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
got a spinning reel that's hanging down beneath it, so you got to hold that up another 4 inches to keep that reel out of the water. If a wave does splash up or something, it's right in the reel. Something splashes up here, I got my hand in the rod and stuff that's blocking the water from hitting this reel.
Never thought about it that way.
More protected.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
And what he was saying about the drag too, like I can operate this reel with one hand if I have to. I can pull line in with my thumb. I can hit this with my finger and spin the handle. This drag, I can back it off or add more with one hand as I'm landing it with the net, or I'm grabbing it with the brogas or whatever else. And like I said, as far as even just pushing it out, I can disengage it and free spool it if for whatever reason.
And you said you use bait casts as well, right?
That's what I use. Bait cast.
What do you use, Sam?
Spinning.
Yeah, and just sitting in my hand like this.
Well, that's why I'm here talking to you guys.
Victor tries. Okay.
I have a really nice.
I got a really nice one.
I got a really nice. I got a Concept Z with my Palo Negro with the acid wrap recoil guides and everything. Yeah. It looks really nice in my boat, bro. Like I can look back, I'm like, man, you look sexy, but I'm not gonna use you.
Victor doesn't get that you got to touch the spool with your thumb when you cast it.
That's what happened last time I
I just hit the button and throw it. I don't know what happens.
That's the difference between Richter and Victor, right?
Yeah.
You see, he's got the bait caster,
bro. Richter. So I got a bait caster. And
he's
one hand
slanging it, bro. Yeah.
Like, look, I cast it and I got my brogas ready, bro. I was like,
it's a one cast wonder. One cast, bird's nest.
Yeah.
I do that too, but with his rod.
Yeah. I hate the bird's nest, bro.
And as far as going from a spinning to a bait caster or whatever else, like I don't view it as like a natural progression as once you get good at a spinning rod, then you switch to a bait. Like I said, like a
preference.
I asked for a bait caster for my birthday when I was like 12 because I saw my granddad using one and I wanted to learn how to use it. And so I literally got one for my birthday. I went out in the street and was just practicing throwing it like every day after school and whatever else. And it just became more comfortable to me than a spinning rod.
Bro, you had a good life, bro. You had a good life.
Freaking sick spinning
That should be
rod.
the measure, right? What age did you start throwing
at 12, he went with the bait because that's what the grandpa used. It's like at 12, I wanted a can because that's what my grandpa used. And I was like, I want a can like grandpa's.
Don't throw the cans away.
Coca-Cola bottle, son.
Don't throw them away. Don't throw them away.
I'll give you a regular Coca-Cola bottle.
Spark plugs and hand lines up there too, bro.
But you know what? Also nowadays, bait casters back then were a lot more difficult to throw.
Bro, I started with an Abu Garcia 5500 C3, that silver freaking
the round one.
Push the little deal and it's just your thumb. Like you got a tension knob and that's it. No
yeah.
brakes.
What do you use?
No nothing.
I use a lot of Shimano products.
Yeah, I mean they got a digital chip one that slows it down for you. You
really?
know? I mean, they're not as hard to use. You got the
low
profile.
This is your tongue,
They're
bro?
super comfortable. Like
now I mean you can tune those things to the point where you
don't have
cast
to touch it,
and you just the only reason you touch it is just when it hits the water.
Yeah, just to stop the spool. You know?
I've been using mine a whole lot more. I mean, what I used to do was I used to take my regular rod and in Rio and catch all the fish, and then I put that away, and that's how I started practicing. And Rudy Celedon, he went with me one time, and I saw him just casting his damn freaking bait cast like. I was like, what the hell? So one time he put his rod down, and I grabbed it, and I was like, let me try this shit. And then I was like, hey, bro, what happened to your reel, bro? I don't know. It's right there.
Hey,
Maybe
man,
the
I don't know,
wind.
dude, but that's kind of like, as far as the way we're with rods and reels, that's like.
Don't touch my shit, bro.
It was my boat. It was my boat.
my shit.
If he wanted to walk home, he could. It was my boat. Hey, you want to walk home, bro? Be my guest.
There's a line, and you crossed it apparently.
The reason I got his rod is because he's like, when I was like, how do you cast so far? So he started messing with mine. He opened it up and he did some stuff. And at that point, I was like, well, let me try yours.
If you ask me, I'm gonna let you. But don't just fucking grab it, man.
And I don't know that I admit that I grabbed another man's rod either.
Yeah,
right?
he's over here all proud of it.
Rudy, I got you, bro.
I don't know that I said that out loud.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, definitely Roy. That's
I think
all
this
he
podcast
uses
is
too.
over, guys. I think
Roy's
it's over.
using
right.
the loose reels too, so they make some pretty good
I
reels
throw
too.
Daiwa. Again,
Yeah,
it's all
so
just
Everyone's got their things out there too. So, but so you guys have a lot of experience throwing bait casters. And do you guys have any bird's nests that still happen even at this point?
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. It still
I mean,
happens.
it's not to the point
Really?
that it's like I would call it a bird's nest. You know, it's like a loop that gets thrown up and caught, and then you can usually stop it before it gets to that point. And you feel that loop come up.
Okay,
And,
so you
know,
know how to stop
And
them.
I will
guess.
tell you this: what I've also learned, because you got a lot of bird nests at the beginning. The tighter you put that line on that reel, the
Oh, yeah.
easier it is to take those bird nest out.
100%. Make sure your line is tight as hell.
Yeah. So when I'll spool my own reel, so I'll put it, but I'll step on it and I'll put a lot of pressure as I'm reeling, and that rod is bent.
Okay.
And I'm putting that line on there.
That
So
needs to
now
be
It's solid, huh?
Yeah.
when it does backlash a little bit on you, it doesn't dig as deep
Yeah.
inside of that other line.
And that's another thing that'll happen too. You get a big fish that's pulling drag or something. Maybe it is a little tight. Maybe for whatever reason it locked up or the drag's stuck or something. I lost the biggest flounder of my life. And I'll say without a doubt, it was over 6 pounds. I mean, this thing was freaking massive. Nailed a corky on the edge of the east cut. I was like 14 or 15. Dude, I've caught a lot of flounder on a corky.
Damn.
I think a lot. Anyways, but it slammed it and it just took off immediately, and my drag stuck and my line just buried right into the middle of my spool, like through all the layers, and got stuck in there. So even though I got it to where it would move, my line was stuck. And so I'm fighting that fish with no drag. You know, a 6+ pound flounder is going to pull harder than most redfish you're going to catch, and it just freaking tore the hooks out of its mouth, and then it just sat down and let me look at it. That's what I'm saying. It was. I got a good look at this sucker, and I mean, it was a big one. I haven't seen one close to that since then. But keeping that line super tight on that spool when you spool them is going to prevent that, or it's going to. Well, it should.
It's going to help, right? It's going to help you out a lot.
And
When you
keeping
do
your
get
reel
it,
clean too.
Because inevitably you're going to get them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it makes it easier to peel it out and reel back in.
But it sounds like what you guys both said here is that like you can feel it, you can see it coming out,
Yeah.
you can stop it
You'll
from
feel
like,
the loop pop up,
and you can
you'll
stop
see
it from like kind of
Getting
going
real bad.
completely getting worse, right? So you can kind of
I have been doing real good till this weekend when I went to the fishing extravaganza with these guys, and it happened literally at the damn freaking pier. There's a pier
Bro, it's
behind
like
the place we're staying
It's like
at.
100 yards to walk out to the end of this.
Dude, I walked over there, cast there one
He
time.
walks out there with one rod.
on my line. Dude, it was the worst. And what happened was 2 of us threw at the same time, and I moved my rod so I wouldn't get tangled, and it was bro. It sucked. I had to
He
go
walks
back in
out
line.
there,
It
goes
sucked.
one time,
Yeah. The whole rest of the day.
and then you just see him walking back like this.
I was
oh
like,
man.
damn it, man. It sucked.
All right.
I was doing
So-
a lot
And
of
then,
it.
and then he breaks the rod the next morning, or not that one, but another one.
Yeah, it was just it was a rough weekend for Victor.
We
So-
slammed
Well,
fish,
yeah,
though.
but
yeah,
he was
we
catching
slammed
limits
fish.
Yeah.
every single day.
We slammed fish,
so
bro.
That's what
you
it's saying
take
about
the
keeping
goods
a good
and the
attitude
bad.
You know
about
what
it.
we're talking about
You let a
waiting.
broken rod ruin your day, but
No,
you're catching limits of fish.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
no.
which one do you
And
want to focus
they're
on?
in between, right?
Yeah.
They're
Nothing ruined my day. Sam was like, Sam.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
I
helps
was-
when you don't pay for your rods.
Victor was catching fish, and I tried calling him like, "Hey, where the fish at? Where the fish at?"
I
No,
took
and
off, bro.
And he didn't answer. He didn't answer.
No, no.
Decline.
No, he was like,
As soon as there's a problem
at the
with the
boat
rod.
ramp, he's like, "Hey Vic, I'm just gonna follow you," but I didn't even know him. Vámonos, bro, vámonos.
And
And I
then
see the X3 coming. I was like, damn it. They saw me.
They found me.
They found me, bro.
Go to the drum boat.
Don't move, guys.
It's like,
Don't
I saw
move.
you hang up that call.
Just don't move, guys.
I was right behind you. I saw you.
Hey, but we slam fish that weekend we went. It was
stupid,
awesome.
yeah.
It was awesome, man. But
These
two of the
really got on
guys
'em.
that got off with me, it was 3 guys that I had never ever fished with before. It was for the event that AM hosted, and they invited me. Thanks, and it was awesome, man. But 2 of the guys got up to wait, dude. It was literally like they were holding hands, like waiting, like literally right next to each other.
Because that's how they knew how to wait, or like that's what
They-
they thought. They didn't know how to wait.
And those are 2 guys that knew each other, so I
Their
think it was
coach,
just comfortable.
Drop the ball there.
Okay.
No. What happened was like I got on fish pretty quick, and then I started seeing them hook up, and I was like, look, just stay there, like just keep on. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, they ended up living it out, but they were like literally like they were
Right,
helping
that's
each other
right.
with the net and stuff too.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
it was cool. We got a 4-man limit of trout and red by
So,
I don't know,
so
like
what's the
10?
Oh yeah.
so what's the protocol then? So everybody gets out off the boat, and then everybody starts waiting. If nobody stays on the boat, people stop walking. At what point does someone say, "I'm going to bite the bullet and walk back to the boat and go pick it up and go get it"?
Invest into a power pole,
There's a
man.
couple ways you
Yeah.
can do that. First off, the better one being you just get a damn power pole and a remote or like a trolling motor. You can
Boat
spot
follows you.
lock or say follow me or whatever. The other way you can do it is you leapfrog it. You drop a guy off here and he's waiting that way, and you take the boat up here, not in his line directly, but kind of the direction he's going. You go up 300, 400, 500 yards, plan it, and then you take off. And that's assuming that they're not in one little concentrated area. If you're just kind of walking a long line, or they're out in a big spread out open bay or a long shoreline, whatever, you can, like I said, you can leapfrog. You can jump up 100 yards in front of the next guy.
Is that
whatever.
similar to what you do? Then?
Depends on the situation. We're fishing a tournament and you're kind of running short on time. Well, we can cover a much bigger area if we do the leapfrog.
Yeah.
Drop one guy off here, take the boat over a little ways, and then so you're waiting towards the boat and he's waiting
Away from
Yeah.
it.
You
And
get
so
the
now
boat
we're
and then you
fishing
go
so
around.
much more
Yeah.
area
Yeah.
than everybody just fishing that one spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how we do it, and let me know what y'all think about this. When me and Leo used to go fish and power pole wasn't working or something, the way we do is, and we'd go like pretty far away. No, we go 100, 200, 300 yards, and the boat looks small, and it's just like one of us has got to go back. So usually it was the one that was catching. The one that wasn't catching as much would stay.
Yeah.
So you stay and fish more and try to get fish
Yeah, it's
while,
like a
while the
mercy
guy that's
rule.
catching goes and gets the boat.
Yeah.
And,
that guy that's
and
going to
usually
get
that
the
was me
boat-
going back.
With Leo, yeah, good luck, yeah,
Leo would
so-
be like, I don't have any fish.
Yeah.
I'm holding them down.
yeah,
and
but
shit.
Leo probably
Yeah.
left you so far behind that you were closer to the boat.
And when
But
you're
that's the way we
walking
did
back,
it.
and when you're walking back to the boat, just
Always
keep
cast.
fucking casting.
Yeah.
Like
Dude.
always
Hey.
be casting. You never know. The fish. If you're in them, you're in them. They're gonna be swimming around behind
Yeah.
you too. Maybe swing out a little bit and take a different line back to the boat. So it's not even like it's just okay. I got to cast against the wind for a little bit. So that takes the whole like shit. I got to walk back
One
to the
thing-
boat out
one-
of it. You're fishing back to it. I've caught a lot of fish walking back to get a boat. Some really good ones too. And we were talking about walking in that mud line that gets formed behind you. Fish will swim up and hit that, and sometimes they won't go through it. Sometimes they'll follow you and be eating stuff that you're stirring up off the bottom.
Yep.
So every now and again, maybe every 30, 40, 50 yards, or about
Cast
every
back.
casting distance,
I'm gonna start
however long you can
Trolling and
cast,
shit. Trolling my own weight.
I'll turn around and maybe
Top
just
water.
throw once or twice on either side of it just to check and see if anything's, especially if you're zigzagging.
A
If
two-toe
you're
rig behind you.
zigzagging-
I was like, you shaking, bro. What are you doing? Am I working my two-toe, bro? What's that noise? Oh, it's a drag. It's a drag.
But yeah, man, and especially if you're walking in an S or you're zigzagging, you're making little pockets, right? That mud's coming up and it's all murked up, and that's assuming the water's not moving and just pushing all that out of the way. Fish will hit that, and you can just throw into those little pockets. And I've caught them out of those before. You turn around, you'll see like a nice little bend in the trail that you've made, and just throw right over in that open thing. And who knows? Maybe a redfish is swimming, and oh shit, what's this? Turns around, tries to get out of there, and it's swimming along the edge of it, and then there's your lure just working down it. Fish are opportunistic feeders.
Yep.
They see other fish
Looking for
feeding,
easy.
they're gonna go check it out, see if because fish will throw stuff up when they're fighting. They'll freaking just
Oh, it's the slicks that we
Yeah.
see. We see the bait
Yeah.
scrambling.
And as far as the other fish are concerned, that's just I don't care if it's half digested or what. That's a meal just sitting there that's not swimming away from me, And
Easy win, yeah.
I've had freaking you see it all the time, man. You're running an 18-inch trout, 15-inch trout, 14-inch trout. Might be a bigger trout that comes up to try to eat that trout, or it might be a redfish coming up and trying to tear the lure out of its mouth. You know, I'm throwing a weedless. It's got a spring lock on it. Redfish hits it. The hook's in its mouth. Lure came off the hook, but it's still just attached to that spring lock, and it's just floating around outside the redfish's mouth.
You
I've
see
had
it
them
slam it.
Yeah.
I've had them swim up and grab that lure and tear it off so hard that they've ripped the spring keeper off of the
Wow.
hook. Yeah, it just comes back and it's just that centering pin, and all the squirrels are fucking
Gone.
yanked off of it. Yeah, it's like, damn it! Like,
It was a good one.
that was a bigger fish, you know. Like you'll see it happen
Yeah.
or whatever. And so you know, it's completely opportunistic. You
One
know,
thing I
and
do
you
gotta
don't
say,
miss a
man,
lot of opportunities.
Going back to the boat sucks though.
Yes.
I mean, that's what, I think
That's
that's
the
when you
hardest
get
You're
the
usually
most
going
tired, man.
into the
Yeah.
wind. You're going like the
Because you're not taking your time anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
it's like, damn.
You're fighting the waves. You're
Yeah.
fighting
It's
the
like,
wind.
that's
It's
when
just
you
like-
hope, hope the anchor pops and just the boat comes over here, man. But you do get spoiled with the power pole, man. Because
Yeah. But
on the
how
weekend,
far
mine went
does an
out.
actually power pole actually remote work?
Mine honestly does about 40 yards.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
can
they
get-
sell
Victor's over there with
they
his rod
sell
and like his ear.
a little kit that's kind of an extension.
Really?
It'll actually give
Yeah.
you a little bit more range on
Really?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
power pole made it like you're not supposed to get off the boat with the remote.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a safety thing, liability thing, I think, on there. So they make it intentionally where you can't get very far away.
Yeah,
from
I was
it.
gonna say
But I
that's been
know-
my kind of experience with
I got,
my boat.
I got
can't-
metal plates in my
I-
hand, so I just put them.
Yeah, Victor's got his rod and like. he's like,
You see me, right? I do that. I put it up against the rod and I point it at the boat.
I got
It works.
plates also.
Yeah, I got plates too, man. See, this is a real fisherman. Let me see
Yeah,
yours.
hey, bro. I
You got
never
shit.
got to that level.
Nothing.
Point.
This is when you really wait. It's like,
All right.
But,
So walking back to the boat, picking up, and then we
Yeah.
talked about leapfrogging, and that's a different way to cover areas. So
let me tell you something. So, let's say you're on your boat and the guy goes back. A guy that you're waiting for, and he goes back. You want him to turn your boat on and drive there, or you want him just to drift over there?
that depends on the guy.
Yeah. When we fish, I mean, it's like I said, the guys that I fish with for years.
So a new guy, a guy that
And
you haven't.
The five of us that fish together, we all own our own boats.
Oh, okay, so they know what they're doing.
They
yeah,
know what they're
everybody
doing.
knows what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my friends, I love my friends, and they come out. They're all from their buddies up from Houston in college and whatever, and they come out and they're just out to have a good time. Like I come
Right.
back and like they don't want to get out
Yeah.
and wade.
They got a
That-
cooler full of beer.
Yeah,
and
they're like
kicking
they're
back
scared.
in the
Like one of my
sun
buddies
and-
is scared of he thinks he's gonna get eaten by a shark. What we talk about here,
Yeah.
and then just
There isn't
stingrays
any
or whatever.
sharks at the bay.
And so whatever it is, right? So like they just don't want to get out, and they want to have the music as loud as it goes, and they just want to be pounding beers and
Yeah,
like
it's a
hanging
party.
out. It's just a
Yeah.
good time, right? Just
Yeah.
getting away from their reality, and
It's
They
so-
forget they went fishing. What did we go for?
yeah, like what
Yeah.
are we doing?
What are these fucking
things? They're in the way, yeah.
Their
Yeah.
plane was like.
So
But I mean that's
Yeah.
what they want to come out and
Ingesting
do,
with
right? And so like whenever I go, and it's kind of tough sometimes, right? Because some of the guys really want to go out and
Yeah.
fish seriously, but then nobody on the boat
Yeah.
wants to stay on the boat that knows how to operate a boat. So it's kind of like it kind of puts me in a
Just put
situation.
it in gear and point it at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't touch anything else. Don't push it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Or yeah, just pick up the power pole and drift. You'll get to me. You know.
So what about water depth? What are you looking at in water depth? I mean, when do you say this is too deep for me to wade, or when do you say this is good, or what's too deep and what's too shallow?
I
You know,
mean,
there isn't such a thing.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the species,
I'll tell you.
sometimes
I wait for snapper.
Right, yeah. No,
He's-
but
Victor's over there
sometimes-
swimming around like, "I got one."
if you're fishing, right? And,
Bring
and
the
a lot
net.
of
He's got
times
little
you
floaties.
can't pick the day you're gonna fish. So you may go a day after it rained a bunch, and now you've got a lot of fresh water in that bay. So those fish are gonna tend to go into that deeper water a little
Yeah.
bit. So you have to know the situation, the
Yeah.
days that you're fishing, right?
Like right now with the tide just being
It's high.
damn.
Yeah, high tide. You can be in some areas where
Yeah.
usually you're knee deep and it's waist deep now,
Yeah.
right?
And that'll ruin some spots
and
too.
it will. Yeah, it definitely changes. And so if you get a day you go out and it's rained a bunch that week, you may have to fish a little deeper water. It's just that salinity is a lot less
Yeah.
when you get into the shallows.
I've actually heard. I don't want to say it like for sure. Anybody quote me on this, but that the fresh water will actually float on top of the salt water.
The
So-
weight.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, like it won't mix. It'll kind of just stay in pockets on top of it, and it'll push the bait out. It'll push the trout out. It'll
That's a
push
lie,
all the
bro.
fish
That's a
down. And
lie.
it'll push them out on the edges of it. So like I know guys that will, when we get heavy rains and there's runoffs, they know where those runoffs are from previous times, and they will go fish like around the edges because you can almost see it. You'll see that just nasty muddy water coming out, and then there'll be the green salt water around the edges of it. And so they're just fishing the edges of that because the fish know that water's pushing all the bait out.
I would say it
So the
depends
fish
on
are
what you're
sitting
fishing
there.
for.
Yeah.
What you fishing for? If you're going for
I've never
reds,
personally done that. I know people that have told me about it that I consider way better fishermen than I am. And so I'm just kind of throwing that out there for anybody that might find themselves in that situation
Okay.
and maybe try to confirm that theory or not.
I don't know
But,
how y'all feel about this. So if you're waiting for reds, I'd like to go a little bit more shallow. If you're waiting for trout, then
species too.
you'd go a little bit more
Yeah,
deeper.
100%.
My ideal for me weight area would be about thigh deep. And I think within thigh deep, I can get both trout and
Reds.
red in that same area.
And that's also kind of like an ease thing for me as well.
Absolutely.
Just mid thigh, like that's a good level to land fish at. You know, it's not freaking high enough where it's like splashing into your chest, or you're worried about stuff in your pockets, or you're getting your glasses wet. Or, there are times where, man, there was one day in August, it was just like hot as crap, man. It was like 115. The wind wasn't blowing a lot, and we were catching fish in 4 or 5 foot of water, and we were just like, screw it, man. Hopped off and we're freaking chest deep fishing. Not my preferred way to wade fish, but it was hot. We wanted to cool off. The fish were there.
And
We had a good time
you go
with
where
it.
the fish are.
Yeah, and
You go
this
where the fish
waterproof
are.
bag. This was like the first day I had this thing.
What do
So I
you-
was like, all right, putting it to the test. Like,
What are you fishing when you're weight fishing for tournament? Are you going?
Well,
how deep would you say you're going?
With the guys that I fish with, I'm usually the flounder guy.
Okay.
So it depends on.
It
I've
really
got some
Where's
areas-
that? So where is your flounder hole?
Again, it's north of the island and
north
probably
of South Padre.
south of the Lane Cut, somewhere in there.
Oh, I know.
But-
I know
Sorry.
that's fine. I know that's fine.
We're going tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be
The
there
whole
tomorrow.
May.
But so I've got it, but it also varies. There's some that I catch up along the banks, and I'm just
yeah.
not much deeper than ankle deep. But then
Oh,
there's
wow.
others where I might be waist deep.
I would
fishing
say
in the
it
drop-off.
completely depends on the conditions, and secondly, what you're fishing for. Because I mean, the redfish do push up and they get belly deep where their backs are out of the water and
Yeah,
they're
I've
chasing
seen that.
shrimp.
That's
and,
my
you know,
favorite.
Early morning.
Yeah, that's some epic stuff right there when you're watching half
Yeah,
of that fish out of
yeah,
the water and
'cause
you
you
see
see
it take off and smash your
Yeah.
lure and it's just
Or
the whole
not. They just just
or they're
swim
just
right by them.
or they're just like,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
fuck off.
whatever.
You know, you
That
put that in
famous line,
front of
there
them,
was
they ain't
fish
swimming around
everywhere,
it.
They just weren't biting.
yeah, they're just
But yeah, man. I mean, there's times where they're in 4 or 5 foot of water. It's hot. They want that little cooler water.
I know
on
why
the
Sam's
bottom,
asking
or-
that though.
Huh.
He has an X3. He wants to know where he can get to.
yeah,
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
can't,
yeah,
I can't go. There's a lot of places I can't
Dude,
get to, but right
so
now there's a lot of water. So I
remember
can
when
get to a lot of places.
when me and you went to Gladys that one time? The only time we went to
it was
Gladys.
bad. Yeah,
And dude,
Oh,
we
you
couldn't.
went back in there in your X3?
yeah.
Well, we no.
Well,
we
I've been
couldn't.
into some of the places in there, but there's like a deep cut that goes
Yeah.
into that, and so we were on the cut, and then I'll let Victor
didn't
stop.
go
Right
very
Oh,
far back in
we,
there.
we anchored and we walked all the way literally to the shoreline, and we were fishing like this much water,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the backs of the reds were just.
Yep.
Dude, it was crazy because you'd hook them, and I think we're using top water.
Yeah.
And you hook them in the top water, and it's like they didn't even know they were hooked.
Yeah.
Like they just kept on swimming at you. And it's like, what the hell? And it was an awesome. We got rained on and
Yeah,
everything. It was
yeah.
a cool day.
Yeah, but we didn't put it that shallow. We just got into the cut up there,
Yeah.
and then we
Oh,
walked
we
a long
walked.
way. So
We
it was
walked
it was
along.
Right about the mouth.
that's my favorite place to go.
I
That's
was gearing up for the horror story. Man, we ran all the way back there and just wow,
No.
dude, you're miles.
Boat
from
would still be
anyone.
back.
Like,
yeah, we knew where. I mean, I like to fish
Yeah.
that area, so I normally don't run into.
well, you got the
Gladys.
boat to get up there too. you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. So I just when the chop's bad, I just can't get into some of the shallow areas. So,
Yeah.
but
That's what waiting's for.
yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's
waiting's for,
another
right?
thing you can use it for is getting in the areas you couldn't in your boat.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? So yeah, I'm gonna actually write that down over here to get there. So last thing I want to cover here.
What do you have to?
I've got a 20-foot shallow stalker,
There you go.
base console.
Cool, man.
So
So I was gonna say I
Fishing.
really don't have that problem. That boat goes everywhere.
Not my boat, man. My boat.
Oh shit, Albert and I run a Chiquita, man, and it's Albert's boat, but we fish with them all the damn time. And that thing, man, that's retarded. Like it's like
yeah.
you
But the boat is like this thick, bro.
yeah,
The whole boat is like this.
Yeah.
I'm just Chiquita. But one time I went with them, and
it's a
there were some
crazy
oyster
boat,
shells,
dude.
and you can see the oyster shells, and these guys are going through them, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm all here like,
Oh, dude.
holding on and shit.
Yeah,
and
these
I'm like,
boats nowadays. I mean, like my boat, it
You're-
doesn't have to float to get up.
freaking running
Man,
in 2 inches.
it'll
of
get
water.
up.
Yeah, you got soft
Yeah, well,
mud.
I've
you can
been
just run
out. I've
through
been
it.
out with Roy and Ruben and on their boat. They have like this Mayak, and then they've got the TRP on it. And that guy just like it doesn't go forward first. It goes up
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then forward. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like
the first time I went with them in the TRP, I was like,
That thing makes a difference.
Oh, yeah,
But it was
absolutely.
just like this. It was like
There's a reason they sell those lower units for $7,000.
Yeah,
People
they're
keep buying
I
pricey,
got a
right?
little
Yeah.
I got a little 18-foot shallow sport. It gets pretty. I mean, I can get pretty
Yeah.
shallow. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, in all honesty, there's not a ton of times that you need to get in less
That
than
shallow.
a foot. You know, if you got something that'll float and get up on a foot, you ain't got to worry about going anywhere. You know, that obviously you can usually see if it's too shallow for you to go.
Yeah, but we've all been there when you're running from one place to
Yeah.
another. And
Oh, yeah,
in
you're like,
about
you don't
6 inches
stop.
of
You're like,
water,
don't
yeah.
stop.
and
It's a
there's
scary
fish,
feeling.
fish,
you look
fish.
down and
It's
you're
just-
like, oh shit.
I better not stop.
Trim
That.
it up a little higher. And,
That's all I do. I just give it more gas
Yeah.
and cross my fingers
Yeah.
and say
Freaking
that. Like,
trim
I
it
did
up,
that last.
trim
like,
it up
yeah,
and
I
let
just-
it eat.
Whenever I'm going from Betty's to Peyton's or cross Peyton's, I'm always scared. But like,
Peyton's,
it's just,
There's about 4 feet of water in Peyton's right now. So,
yeah, I know right now. This
you're
past
good.
week went, but there were some areas that were actually pretty
Oh, yeah.
shallow. But we ran into some of the back lakes back there, and that was pretty.
I ain't saying you're not gonna get in trouble. I'm just saying, like, for the 90% of the bay, you're fine. You know,
You never gotten stuck?
But yeah,
Well, I've gotten stuck. I'm sure we've all
Yeah,
gotten
everyone
stuck.
I've gotten stuck.
Yeah.
If
We
you
got
haven't gotten
stuck.
stuck, you're not fishing shallow.
we got stuck.
But
in
we
Chiquita
got
once,
stuck.
bro.
But usually, like I said, that was pretty good. You push, there's a lot of times where we may have to push 100 yards, 200
yeah.
yards, but you'll get out. I mean,
Yeah.
it gets out.
Yeah.
As long as you find that little bit softer mud.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One time I was the Leo in his M2, and that was with Homer,
yeah.
and Homer's short, so shorter than me and Leo, like.
Yeah.
So we called him
when he
up, and I was
steps
like,
off,
"Hey,
it's knee deep.
I was like, how's it going?" And he's like, "It's about knee deep." So we go there to pick him up, and it was just. I was like, "Damn!" And he was like, "What is knee deep?" And I was like, "Well, you were in
It's
the
like
mud."
this
Yeah.
But Homer did have like he
Yeah.
had probably like a 28, 30-inch trout, like beautiful trout, man. And we had to just, we got it out of the mud, pushed it out, and got him out.
Yeah, I fished BDS with Roy and Ruben 2 years ago, and that was it was one of the most it was actually one of the best fishing trips I've ever had. And it
That's how you tell me when you go with me.
Yeah.
huh?
That's when you say when you go with me.
Oh, but this was before that.
Yeah. Since then.
No, but what do you call it? So this place, but the water. I mean, it was like you couldn't get in there. And actually, it was really shallow, and I just couldn't. I couldn't imagine there being a way that you were gonna get in there, or it specifically get out. Right? It's not. Don't tell me I
Getting
can
in
get
there
in.
easy.
Getting there
Yeah.
is easy. It's getting out.
That's the issue, right? Like, you can get in, but then as soon as you sit down,
Yeah.
that's when you're.
But I mean, it's
There's
like
no
you
going
said. Like
back,
we went
right?
in there and we found a school of reds, and every cast was redfish. Right? They were just in that little pocket back there, back in the back of Rattlesnake that one day. And it was fun, it was good, but granted, it was a tournament, so it was a different style, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we probably would spend.
And that's where knowing the bay comes in, because you know which way to push your boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
And get it. You gain just a few inches, and you can. Get
It's
out.
enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it definitely getting into some shallow water, and there's a lot of that here in the bay.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We do have a very shallow bay system down here.
So
Even
it's-
in regards to other bays up and down the Texas coast, ours
Yeah,
is
shallow- I
considered
mean,
one of the shallowest.
Yeah, absolutely. Shallow is relative to
Yeah.
whatever ecosystem you're in, right?
Yeah.
And here, shallow is you're not shallow unless you're less than a foot, right?
Yeah.
It's like
you get up to
that's deep.
Rockport, Galveston area.
Yeah, shallow is
you
like
got
6
those
feet.
big
Yeah.
open bays, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're real shallow, man. We're fishing 5 or
4
6
feet,
foot of
yeah.
water. It's like,
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Last thing I want to touch on here is just how to stay safe as a waiter. So there's definitely
let's
let's
go with that,
talk
too.
about safety specifically. So a lot of people. So we talked about sharks, maybe not sharks, or whatever. Just gears, how to stay
yeah,
visible, and also what do you guys do to stay safe?
Well, fishing slow definitely helps, and that's more for the stingray.
yeah.
Okay.
When you
Shuffle your
you
feet.
shuffle your feet, definitely shuffle your feet. Because if you're walking fast, it's hard to shuffle, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of moving too quick. But if you move slow, you'll spook those
Yeah.
stingrays before you can kind of get on them.
So do you wear? Speaking of stingrays, do you guys wear those ray guards?
I'm just not smart.
I do
enough.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Do you wear
don't.
ray guards?
The chin guards, you mean? The ones that
Yeah,
go?
the ones that go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have some.
It's like I have some.
They're
Too,
on
but I
the
don't
boat.
wear them though. Yeah,
I don't
just,
trust them
You don't trust them?
personally. That's why I've never worn them. I saw a stingray barb go through my cousin's ankle bone, like
Oh,
the
'cause it
round
was,
part of your ankle, like
Yep.
it went through that, and I was like, that little piece of plastic is gonna stop that, Like maybe if it hits it in the right spot, but that thing hits it directly,
It's- yeah.
perpendicular 90-degree angle, as
Very
hard as it
sharpish,
can.
yeah.
I got a hard time believing it's gonna stop it.
The boots work because I got hit by a stingray
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying it's not gonna work.
It did cut me. Like
Yeah.
it did get to puncture
It is
the
protection.
skin.
Yeah, it's gonna
but it didn't
break
get to
it.
go through
Yeah.
my bones.
Yeah.
I felt it. I thought it was. I thought I was chasing reds, and it was just a big ass school of manta rays.
Yeah.
And I ended up hitting a stingray, and it hit me.
Yeah.
But it didn't go. Didn't
Yeah.
go through. So, but it was just the. It wasn't the shin guards.
That's just
it was
what's
the boot.
kept me from wearing them. And then I've just spent so much time in the water, you know, that I've kicked plenty of them. I drag my feet. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay.
I'm also, you know, like he said, 99% of them are going to swim away from you, you know, and you're in shallow water. You can see the bottom. You're paying attention. You're working slow. So you see them, they'll usually spook. If they don't, you poke them with your rod or walk around them or whatever. And if you do happen to kick one that's asleep or something, they're going to take off.
Yeah.
If you step on top of them, that's when they get you. So as long as you're not
Shuffling your feet.
but you kick the edge of them or something. I worked on the beach for 2 years doing banana boats, or 2 summers, I should say. I was out there barefoot in the beach, in the water, in and out every day, all day long. And I kicked plenty of them, you know? So it's kind of just like
The key is slow.
Slow
Yeah.
and
Slow.
shuffling.
I'm not going to
If you're-
recommend not wearing them.
Yeah,
I'm just kind
I was
of
gonna
like
say, if you're
saying why
new-
I don't. They just came out with some new wading boots. They're called like Bart's Bay Armor or something.
Yeah.
And
look pretty
they're
cool.
they're you know, I don't know if you've
Coming
seen
in
the
with a knife
videos on
and stuff.
Facebook. They're hitting them with ice picks and knives and all kinds of crap and this and that. And you know, I'm
One of
kind
the
of
guys
holding back
put
and
a-
waiting to see what people say about them, if people say anything about them.
But they have them at Hoodland and Sinker now.
Yeah,
I think they might even have them at
At the tackle,
Tackle
box?
box, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And there's a guy who put for that video they put a stingray barb on a hammer and they're freaking going at it
yeah.
and it ain't going through. Now just
Mother
because
Nature's
we don't
crazy,
wear
bro.
them, like it's like Mom just said. I mean, if you're just gonna start waiting and you feel like I'm scared, then buy them, man.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Peace
if
of
it's
mind.
gonna make you
Yeah.
feel, if it's gonna give you peace of mind, then it's worth it. You know, like I'm comfortable out there without them. If you're not, maybe wear them because that's something you're gonna be focused on and not fishing.
Okay.
You know, I'm out there pretty much on autopilot with my feet. I'm dragging my toes, and
So have any of you guys ever been hit by a stingray?
I never have.
I have not.
I have,
Yeah.
but it cut me. It did make me bleed, but it didn't go.
Yeah,
I know, and I just kept on fishing, and eventually I did get to the reds, so that helped out a lot. Because
yeah, the
I wasn't,
adrenaline, yeah.
and I wasn't
Yeah.
by the boat, so
Get
I
over the
couldn't
pain
go
real quick.
back. I couldn't go back
Yeah.
to the boat, or
Right.
I wasn't gonna take my boot up. I just continued fishing, but I knew what had happened, and when I got to the boat and I took it, that's when I noticed that I was bleeding, but it didn't hurt me
yeah.
a lot. Like it was just a cut. You talk about visibility, so shirts. You know, if you're gonna go wade.
Well, last thing here before we touch on visibility, so let's talk about stingray. So if you do get, like you talked about, getting hit by a stingray and you kept on fishing, typically I guess it's just going to be depending on
How bad it is.
how bad it is,
Yeah.
and like you probably need to get out of the water and
I mean, if you take a barb like, you know, through the calf and you're bleeding like crazy and it's burning and it hurt, you know.
What if you're in a schooner reds though? I mean,
Unless
just keep
it's a
on fishing.
tournament.
Yeah,
Unless it's-
or you know, you
yeah.
get hit and you're like, hey, you know, that doesn't feel terrible. You know, it sucks.
What
but
if you're on that
I'm gonna-
30?
I'm gonna eat it up. You know, like I'm gonna just suck it up
Yeah.
and go. Like I said, I've never been hit by one, so
I
I
was
can't
gonna
say.
say I don't know.
I've just
I've
heard
never been hit
stories.
by one, so it'd be hard for me to say.
Yeah,
I've
so,
been
so
hit by-
the best thing
I've-
is to prevent it from
I've been
happening
hit
by
by
shuffling your
catfish
feet. Yeah.
before, you know, and that I don't know if it's similar or not.
Pee on it, bro. Just
That
pee on
fucking sucks.
It's Chili Vicks.
it.
But I-
Wigs
but I
or
have
Windex.
yeah, just keep your Gatorade bottle handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have
Uh,
heard that it's one of the most painful things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I can imagine. So
My granddad got hit one time when he was by himself, and it said it just went straight through the top of his foot. He was on fire. He was bleeding like crazy. He just went and got back on the boat and took off. And he's like, man, every 200 or 300 yards, I'd stop and I would put my foot under the pisser on the motor. It's shooting
water?
out super hot salt water, and it would just. He's like, man, it would clean it off, and it would get it hot, and it would almost, like, I don't want to say it would numb it, but I think it was more of like made it feel better for just a little
yeah,
bit.
that was hot, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like
So that's kind of like he got. That's how he got home,
Yeah.
right? You know, he wasn't like, man, it was debilitating and I couldn't stand, but it was like, man, it was bleeding like crazy, and I'd hit it with that hot salt water, and it would kind of slow down the bleeding, you know, and then he'd haul ass back in. What are they saying?
My son, he put when your mom makes hot soup. I don't know.
He's just like you, bro.
Yeah,
so,
bro.
so maybe say when your mom makes hot soup, that's like the way it feels when you get stung by a stingray?
Right.
Right,
If that's
yeah.
what it means, I didn't say that, babe. So disclaimer: I like your soup.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I love your soup.
All right, so,
It's
so
the best.
definitely, by all means, like do what you feel is right, and if you're, it's not worth taking any risk associated with it, right? So if
Yeah.
you get stung with a stingray, probably the best
Get
thing
out,
to do is
man.
to get out of the
It's time.
water.
Just stay
and
vigilant.
same,
Yeah.
same
Call it
thing.
a day.
Stay vigilant.
yeah,
Shuffle your feet. Yeah.
Yeah, and same things, normal protocol, like, and I say normal protocol, assuming people know, but if they don't, keep pressure on it,
Yeah.
wipe it with
I'm not a
something to keep
doctor,
it
so
clean,
I'm not
right?
gonna be
Yeah,
like,
but you-
oh yeah, do this and this. And
Yeah,
I'm a
so-
doctor.
Yeah.
I
Just
stayed at a
fish.
Holiday
Just
Inn
put a
Express
tourniquet
last
on
night.
it, bro, and suck it up. All right, like
Just fish.
just drink a beer.
yeah, like
Use
we're
it
in
as a
them,
hook.
We're not going in yet. All right, just eat it.
All right.
Yeah.
What
So-
would Bear Grylls
And
do?
as far as sharks go, it's saltwater. There are sharks.
There's no
The
sharks
water,
in the bay, bro.
the water you're fishing, if you're wade
They're
fishing,
dolphins.
is going to be at max 4 or 5 feet deep. 90% of the time, you can see the bottom. If there is a shark there big enough to do anything to you, you're going to be able to see it. It's going to be thrown awake. Its fin's going to be out of the water. You're probably the last thing out there that it's going to want to mess with because you're the size of it. 5-foot shark swims up on a 6-foot person. It's not like, hey, that's
This
a
is the
meal.
valley, man. Come on, you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
A 4-foot shark swims up on a 5-foot person. Like I'm not saying a shark bite won't happen or it doesn't. They do typically stay in deeper water. They're moving in
But
and out of
they
the
may
channels,
go
but-
after your stringer.
I was gonna say I've been
Yeah.
shark jacked twice.
You have?
I've been stringer jack before. I mean, it. You just tell yourself it's a dolphin and just keep on moving. Like,
Especially when there's no boat around you, you can't do anything anyway.
yeah, you don't
right?
freak
Except
yourself
for-
out.
And I almost feel like, and I don't know why, but both times I got shark jack, I kind of started tippy toe. I don't know why it felt 2 inches off.
You wanted to see-
higher in
Yeah,
the water.
just a little bit
Help
further
me.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like puffing your
Yeah.
chest out, right?
But yeah.
You had a race console.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
No,
two-
you're
raised
trying.
his
You're trying to
console.
size yourself up, right?
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
fish thinks you're bigger.
He
I'm
went
not
race
sure.
console.
But yeah, I've been pulled. The worst one was because growing up again, we wake fish, but we didn't know. If we caught a fish, we weren't going to lose that fish. So you'd wrap that stringer around your waist,
Yeah.
and you tie it
Tie it
right.
around your
Yeah.
shoe,
So
whatever else.
that first time I got pulled probably 15, 20
It was
feet.
tied, the stringer was trying to
Was-
that around
was
you.
wrapped around me.
Oh.
Shark came up, grabbed the stringer. Wasn't trying to get me. He was just trying to get the fish that was
Right.
at the end of the stringer, and he pulled me. I went probably 15 or 20 feet
Oh yeah.
before he finally came
Oh,
off.
broke off.
Shark, huh?
The other time fishing, now you learn and you just kind of put that stringer inside the loop of the belt.
Yeah.
And
And that's what it's made for, right?
That's what it's made for,
just
yep.
slides
The-
right
the-
out.
Yeah, tools and stuff. that are
Easy
specifically
Wade's
made to
got-
hold it.
got a little pocket where all you do is string, put that tip of that stringer in there. And so
Yeah.
it pulled me probably 3 or 4 foot before it popped.
Broke off.
Stinky
But
pants out of the
it's
string
a
is
scary feeling.
Absolutely, I can imagine.
You know, and that second time that shark came up and I never saw it until when he pulled, that tail came out of the water and it slapped me on the shoulder as he was swimming away from me.
Did it take when the second time you got a hit? Did it take your stringer completely?
It took the stringer stayed in my belt loop or in that pocket,
It's just like
but
a kebab.
when it pulled, probably a second later, just that floater came up. So what happened? And I had a sneaky pants stringer, and so it pulled that float right off the end of it,
and
So-
took everything with it.
and
And
it
that-
took everything with it.
See,
And
that's-
those floats
that-
don't come off easy. Like to
No,
pull that.
No,
it's
it
gotta-
broke it. It cut
Yeah.
through that. Yeah, it cut through it. It didn't.
So it cut that.
It
float
cut through it,
completely.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, man, that thing
Yeah.
had enough power to
No,
pull
it
that
it,
out
it
and
broke.
around.
It
That's
broke it
crazy.
from
It
in
sheared
here
it out,
popped
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty
So,
crazy too.
but that
I mean,
was
that's some hard
it's a
shit.
scary feeling.
So
but-
there's-
And as far as holding the string, this is one other thing I need to say. This is a grind. It kind of works like a finger trap too. It just
yep.
But if
And
you
I
apply
gotta-
enough tension on it, it'll
no,
come out.
It won't. Not,
No.
And that's the
See,
problem.
I'm gonna
and that's
show.
exactly why you say that's a problem. So I use a stringer setup from LSG, from Lone Star Gear, and what that does is got a 60-pound weight. If the fish pulls 60 pounds, it's going to pop. It's gonna pop
Yeah.
so that you don't, so the
Well,
shark
something's gonna
doesn't
give,
keep you
right?
there.
Like so
on
it
it.
sounded like this
I
cork's gonna
actually-
pop.
Yeah, I actually had this on Albert picked me up. This happened like a month ago, and he picked me up. You know how he is, dude. Like he picks me up with the boat in gear, and he's already ready to freaking. I'm like,
That's
dude,
nice.
like
Scared everything
out. Right by.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna go in circles around.
killing
you first.
time.
Yeah,
Killing
dude,
daylight.
So freaking, whatever. I hop on there, and usually most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm pulling my string up to snap. For whatever reason, I forgot to do it that time, and the worst happened. He freaking was turning around to take off the other way, and it got pulled into the prop, and he was just in gear. and that thing wrapped around the prop, and it was just a
Wow.
hard yank, and the prop disengaged because they're made to do that, but it didn't come out of there. It freaking locked in there, and I just freaking you push this up and it releases it,
Yeah.
and so I guess shout out to Stinky Pants and Grind for making some tough shit, but that could also,
I mean,
Yeah.
if that
it's
motor
gotta
wouldn't
be
have stopped,
fit for purpose,
that was only
right?
a 60.
For you,
That was only
bro.
a 60 horsepower
Yeah.
motor.
Yeah.
So I would definitely not recommend you trying that out, but it
Yeah.
happened. I'll share it. I ain't
Yeah.
embarrassed. Whatever.
What happens?
I mean,
Invest into an
but you gotta
LSG, bro.
you share it for the purpose of teaching people so that they don't
Don't
run
do
into
it.
any incidents, right?
Yeah.
So, but but you're still fishing it, right? And so,
Oh,
so
yeah.
obviously
I'm
you
still using it. I
you
like
don't
it.
think you
Yeah.
the risk of kind of getting sucked in or whatever by.
I mean, there's a
whatever it is.
lot of stuff on here that's gonna, that's
That'll
gonna
That'll give, yeah.
that'll
Oh, I
give.
see the mono line here. That's kind of tied in. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a little jerry rigged thing. to
yeah,
hold
because this bag wasn't
even.
initially
Yeah.
a weighting bag,
It's
right?
like designed to be a
something
weighting
like-
bag. This is, I think it's called like the sidekick or something.
Okay.
And
Bitch bag.
it's made to like stick on a cooler or something
Okay.
to put your stuff in. This is the waterproof one they made, and I was like, well, that's exactly.
Yeah,
what
my
I
cousin
want.
says
Give
I
me
take
that.
all
I
this
was gonna
fish.
say you jack your
I
fish.
don't jack fish from a stringer. I jack them once they're filleted, and then I put them in my.
He's taking a picture with like 2 half shells.
That's
Two
all I
half
got.
shells.
Yeah, just put it in this bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely so sharks, there's a way to kind of mitigate it with you use the right
Yeah. And
stringer
Stinky
out
Pants
there.
has got one too. I've never used it, but it's like a big snap swivel. It looks like, I think it's the same thing. If it gets
It just
yanked by the
pops right out,
prop
yeah.
or something pulls it, it'll just
Pop out.
So and like you said, like the shark's not
yeah.
going to mess with you. He's not out there. He may mess with
Yeah.
your stringer if
Yeah.
if he's out there,
Yeah.
or it's an easy meal for
you
him.
do
but
not like, you're not something sharks are looking for to eat. If you're out in the deep
That's the
water or
dead
something
guy.
and a 14-foot hammerhead swims up, okay, yeah, you're on the menu. But if in the bay, you're gonna see little black tips. That's what you're gonna see out there, and those
little 4, 5,
3,
6
4,
feet.
5 foot, maybe black tips. I've never seen one bigger than that. I know people that have seen bigger sharks out there. I'm not saying they don't get out there. I'm just saying like a shark of that size is really hard to miss when you're in 3 feet of water.
But like you said, you're out
'Cause-
there. You can't do
yeah.
anything about it. What are you
Like
gonna
I
do?
would
if a
cast
human,
at it.
if
Tippy toe.
a human is
You
laying,
make yourself bigger.
Yeah.
Puff your chest out.
yeah,
You cast at it, Sam. You cast
if
at
a
it.
human is
Hey.
swimming around under the
Yeah.
water, you can see him. I mean, that's pretty much what's happening. That's a human sized
Yeah, it's pretty
fish
big, yeah.
swimming around, and if it's not, it's a little bitty one, and whatever, a little 3-foot shark, even if it comes after you.
I've seen some, but I've never come close to them. But I've seen some shark when we're out there waiting,
Yeah,
and I just keep on waiting.
that fish come in,
Yeah.
after fighting
When
them,
you
and they
wait
got
in the
some
opposite direction.
interesting marks on them, and whatever.
All right.
Just-
So stingrays, we talked about shuffling your feet, mitigating with them. Sharks,
Yeah.
we said they're not going to mess with you. They may mess with your stringer, but you can get around
Yeah.
that if you get the right stringer, the right gear that breaks off.
Alligators and crocodiles are a different story.
Alligators.
They're the new thing.
So where
Yeah,
were you
I've-
encounter alligators and crocodiles here?
I've only ever seen one when I was out fishing, and it was in South Bay. I was way back up in the mangroves, and I
Our
saw.
special guest does not want to go fishing tomorrow.
It's,
Drifting sounds nice.
Yeah, right. No shit. She's just gonna bring us the boat.
so
But yeah, I've seen an alligator or a crocodile. I don't know which one it was. It was a giant fucking lizard that I was not gonna fuck with like at all.
Giant lizard.
Like,
this,
I
this,
saw
is, this is a
iguana.
family show,
Bro,
bro.
I saw-
I'm biting
oh.
my tongue too. So.
You saw an iguana, bro.
I said freaking, and it's
Okay.
it's chit with a ch.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw the head and I was like, that looks weird. And then it went under, and then I saw its tail come up. I was in real shallow water, and it was like 40 or 50 yards away, and I saw its tail come up, and I went down, and I got back in my kayak and started paddling.
So that's a sign.
South Bay. I seen one at South. The only time I seen
Alligators?
one was at South Bay.
Oh,
I was in
man.
my kayak too.
Those
I
things-
kind of, dude. I knew I can go that fast.
The Buena Vista area,
That
north side,
They're in
by
there?
the refuge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you there. There'll be a few in there.
Oh yeah.
And then 2 times I fished Port O'Connor tournaments over there, shark jack, and
Oh man,
Had
that just
an
seems
alligator.
like
Shit.
They got a lot of deep water over there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sharks, deeper water, that's something you might want to look out for. If
yeah. Know where you're fishing, right?
you're, maybe you're fishing thigh deep, but 20 yards over, it's 14 foot. Big shark can sit in 14 foot of water. But
Megalodon.
yeah, right. The Meg. But yeah,
Don't let
alligators
those things
and
stop you from
crocodiles
going wade
are
fishing.
definitely,
Though. It's,
like-
you know, it's,
the best.
Yeah.
what you just the mindset, right?
These are like worst
if you're,
case
if you're out
scenarios.
there fishing and you're thinking about sharks, you're thinking about stingrays, it's not gonna be fun.
No,
Yeah.
it ain't
You're
gonna
not
work
gonna have a
out.
good time. You're gonna be looking down at your feet all the
Yeah.
time instead of studying the water. And so, obviously you have to be mindful of that,
Yeah.
but just try not to.
But
think
it's
about
part
it
of
too much.
studying the
It's
water
not-
too,
yeah,
right?
it's-
It's like you're out there looking for these or
And there's-
whatever.
there's
So.
dangers
If you
in
see that it
everything,
says
though, too, you know?
Alligator
I mean,
refuge. Don't
Yes.
fish there.
Yeah.
Come on,
I-
man.
Stay away from that.
I mean, if it's worth it, stay in the boat, maybe. But but yeah, like alligators and crocodiles. Not to get too far off the topic, but those things are like just perfectly evolved killing machines. Their
Oh,
brain
yeah.
is like that big. Because all it is like, can I eat that? I don't know. I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna try, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And it's
like,
like, even if
that's the
it's-
answer no matter what.
Yeah,
like,
like
it could be,
even if they are
fucking-
smaller than you, they're like, I can drag this thing into the water and then I win. You know,
Yeah.
that's all they think about.
No,
It's like, how
forget-
can I eat that thing?
Forget sharks and forget crocodiles, alligators,
They're dinosaurs.
stingrays. I mean,
That's
no,
that's
stingrays or
probability.
jellyfish,
Yeah.
bro.
jellyfish.
Jellyfish, dude.
Bro. Jellyfish
they
just
burn.
they kind of
Yeah,
hurt.
they burn,
If
bro.
you walk into a man of
It's not gonna-
war,
it's not gonna-
maybe.
I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, but like
Yeah.
Have you seen-
on
have
like
you-
the evolution
people-
or like the
yeah.
risk. Or
Have
like,
you seen Nemo? I'm just saying, bro.
Say,
Bro,
I'm just saying.
yeah,
jellyfish are out there, and I've seen some people get hit by them, and they're like it's a day ender. A lot of people get hit by them. It's kind of like a bee sting.
yeah.
I
that's,
don't really feel them. I've been hit by a ton of them though, so I don't want to say I got immune to it, but maybe I just
It's
kind
'cause
of
it's granddaddy.
got out of it. But, hey,
that's what they used
Bro,
to
I
do.
grew up-
They wouldn't give him a chunk cloud. They would throw him in.
Those
the-
jellyfish.
yeah, dude, they just had a man of war written for me. Yeah,
Behave. That's how you got the
But,
freckles. They're not.
yeah. Stingrays are definitely.
Yeah, that's probably the only
Infinitely
thing that you
higher.
would have to worry
Yeah.
about to me when you wade
That's
fishing.
the
It's a
main thing with
stingray. Yeah.
stingrays. That's
Shark ain't
something
really gonna
that's-
mess with
that's
you, man.
very
They
real.
don't care about you.
They're out there. They're eating the same stuff.
Unless you're
roaming around on the
gordito,
bottom.
you're gordito and got big butt, then you gotta be
Yeah.
careful, man.
Nice,
Eat, you know,
nice and marbled.
yeah, it's like
don't
damn.
put any tacos in your
Ah,
bag.
Yeah, right.
And no
Don't be-
delia, no delia
Don't be
tamales,
making chorizo.
Pobrecito, the shark bites you and gets diabetes. Damn it, I got diabetes.
Hey, you got him back, bro. You got him
You
back.
got him.
Yeah.
Jokes
That's
on
right,
him.
you're gonna die.
Jokes on him,
You're
right?
taking
So-
me out. I'm taking you with me, bitch.
So the reality is that there's some risk out there associated with some of the natural species, but we can we know what they are. But what about
There's risk
boats,
with
right?
anything, though. You
Like
know?
Anything.
boats and other people, other fishermen, and out there, and
Yeah.
kind of what do you do to stay safe from guys, especially if you're waiting out at like 5 a.m.
Well, make sure
Yeah.
you have your lights.
Yeah, definitely carry a light.
Yeah.
We usually carry a headlamp with us.
You're waiting
for-
at dark,
for
low
early in the
light
morning.
stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
Remember we talked to James Duncan. He said, you
Or
have
foggy
to
days too.
you have to have your gear. Like you cannot just go out there wait fishing at 5 a.m. with no
Yeah.
light, bro. It's something that
asking
can
for
happen.
You
something
need
to
to be
happen.
prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked. Oh, so lights is one thing, right? That night, yeah, and fog, like you mentioned too. That's
Yeah.
that I can imagine that would
And
be.
there's not a ton you can do if it's really heavy fog.
Right.
Say a prayer, wave your arms. If
Or
maybe-
listen, right? Just, I mean, you're
Or
listening
get
for.
closer to the banks. A little
Yeah,
bit,
you know,
just
get
if
out of the
it's-
running
Listen for
lanes,
If you've got a
boats,
lot of-
listen,
if you've
yeah.
got a lot of
There-
boats around you, it's probably a good idea if you're in a situation like that, or it starts to rain where it's really raining real hard.
Yeah.
Move your way over a little bit over into those shallows, the real shallows up along the
Yeah.
banks.
And like people aren't, people tend to run their boats in certain lanes, because they know that this is the deeper water.
Right.
I can run in this, whether it's a channel or it's just a deeper part of the bay you're fishing or whatever it is. You can really typically figure out where people are running their boats. They're running the same general area. Maybe don't walk there if the low light conditions or it's foggy or rainy or stormy or dark or whatever.
Or if you're by your boat, get back on your boat.
Yeah, or have your boat right behind you, like keep your boat 20 to 30 yards behind you and use that as like a, they see the boat. Oh shit, man, run out of the side.
One day that I went out there was foggy. It wasn't foggy in the Arroyo. It was foggy getting
Get
out.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I wanted to wait, but I was like, I can't. I'm just gonna stay on the boat.
Yeah.
And what I did was I put the music out as loud as I could. That's
Yeah.
actually what I did.
Try to
And
make
I
yourself as visible as
Yeah.
possible and say a prayer.
Or just noticeable, right? So visible / whatever
Just stay
sound, whatever.
attentive.
Yeah.
Have a way to make yourself visible. If you're not, with a light or a headlamp or freaking wear a glow stick, I don't care.
be aware.
Something
so-
to let them know that there's a person
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And
And it's-
also don't be waiting somewhere that they run through. If it's a super shallow flat and you're
There's probably not
standing
any
in the
fish there
channel,
anyway.
Yeah,
And as a
I mean,
waiter, be aware. And
that's a big
don't
part of it,
think don't be one of those waiters that that boat shouldn't go through here. Like, don't worry about that, man. You
Yeah.
move, you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the hell out of the way, you stay safe.
Yeah,
Don't worry
right.
about what the boat's gonna do.
Don't-
Worry about how
yeah.
you can get safe.
Yeah.
Because I've had people be like, "Well, he shouldn't have been drifting here." Well, he is.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is. At the end of the
Yeah.
What are you
day,
gonna do
It doesn't
about
it's
matter
your safety.
No one-
If
no
it's
one
between
owns
you and the
the
boat,
water.
the boat's gonna
Yeah.
win.
Absolutely.
Boat's gonna
No
win.
one owns the water.
So yeah, be safe and stay out there. And then the last thing is just kind of just associated with I mean, not so much here, but when I used to fish a lot in Houston, you'd hear about waders drowning and whatever water getting caught in their waders and stuff. Granted, I know we talked about a lot deeper or shallower water that here,
It's happened here though.
Yeah,
but
it's
it
happened.
happens here too.
that
So
also kind of happens when people freak out, because like if you let your waders fill up with water, like water doesn't sink in water, that's neutrally buoyant. So it's like, yeah, your waders are full of water. It's hard to swim. It's hard to do. But if you stay calm and if you're in water that's so deep, I'm assuming you're meaning like they fall off the boat, like in the channel or
but,
something.
I mean, it happens in different
And they
areas,
got
right? They
waders
walk
on.
off, they drop off. There's a drop off there, and they get sucked in, or they fall off the
Yeah,
boat,
maybe it's
whatever it
eddy
is.
current or whatever, and they get sucked into deep. Because like if you're wading, obviously you're in shallow enough that you're fine. So you're stepping into a hole, or you're stepping off the edge of a channel, or a drop off, or you're getting sucked out. Just nightmare scenario. Like the biggest thing you could do is just try to stay calm. Because even if your waders fill up and it just turns into a lead weight and you sink to the bottom, like is the general consensus. If you stay calm and cool, you can get out of your waders in a minute. You can get them off. You can take your freaking boots off. You can get the hell out of them and kick your way back up to I mean, you get in that situation and you really got to get out of them. Like, it don't matter if you're breaking the straps, you're tearing it, like, get out of them, stay calm. Don't freak out. You see a shark, stay calm. Don't freak out. That's pretty much the biggest thing, is just try to keep your wits about
But the
you.
only way you're able to do that is you have to have thought about that scenario.
Yep.
Yeah. You got to
Right.
prepare yourself
You have
for
to
it.
prepare yourself
But
for
look,
that.
It's all gonna go back to the very beginning of this conversation when y'all said, "Be aware of your surroundings."
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, you cannot go fish the channel with waders on.
No, but like we started, like let's say you're waiting and
Yeah,
you fall
nightmare
off the boat,
scenario,
right? Like
yeah.
there's different scenarios. Yeah, you obviously, right?
You hit a channel marker and y'all fly off the
Oh,
boat,
yeah.
and then the boat sinks, or it's inoperable, or the wind blows it off, and you got to just, that's.
I don't put
situation
my
all
waders
around, but-
all the way. I put them just to like waist deep when I'm on the boat.
Yep.
And then when I'm gonna fish, I go ahead
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean, I
what
got
I-
into habit. I
but
just
they also, most waders, that's why they come with that belt.
Yeah.
You tie that belt on tight enough, and it's
Not
gonna
gonna
take
go
it a
in.
really long time to get all
Water
the way
down,
Yeah,
down.
because
into
it's
your
not
boat.
like pressurized
right.
pushing in
It's,
there.
it's
It's
equal,
just
like you said, right? It's
yeah,
the same way.
so it's kind of like, just stay calm, try to think, and try to just figure your way out of it. That's just the best you can do. I mean, and sometimes like you're just fucked. Like, to put it simply, it's just.
Yeah. So try to prevent yourself from getting into that situation,
Yeah.
specifically if you're waiting.
And if you
knowing
know
that-
you're in a dangerous area,
Yeah,
be
I mean,
aware of
so-
it,
so,
acknowledge it, and
like
have a
one
plan
area,
in
like it
case.
happens all the time. And actually, they actually stopped waiters they stopped people from waiting there. Was out in San Luis Pass, out just
Yep.
south of Galveston, right? They just because people were dying, like they were drowning out there because there was these drop offs or these holes, right? And it would go from like 3 feet to like 8 feet, like just like that, right?
Mhm.
And so
One
the
step.
people were, and they were doing it, and so they started saying like
that's the way it's a gay man's. Not that I've gone there before. I've heard.
but yeah, so just I mean, it's like that,
That's
right?
another
So
podcast,
it's
Will.
just. But yeah, so they started telling people wear your life jackets if you're going to be out wade fishing,
Yeah.
and then people it was still happening, and then it just got to the point where they said no, we're not doing this anymore. Like they shut it off, like they blocked it off, and they said you can't fish this area anymore because of that. So it does
Tough, man.
happen, and so you got to be aware of it. You got to know what you're doing. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's not worth it, right?
Yeah.
So if you know an area, like you said, find an area that you can wade fish in.
Yeah.
And,
One thing I do when I go on my own, this has nothing to do with the waders, but when I go on my own fishing on my own, I try to wear a bright shirt, pink, yellow, something.
you just like pink.
Yeah, you
though,
just
bro.
like
Something
you just like colorful.
oh, whatever.
you get some all at the same time. A
something-
rainbow, right? Green.
Something
Yeah, bro.
visible, man. Like these gray ones, they're good and they're nice. But if I'm with a group, fine. But if I'm on my own, I want to wear something a little bit more visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Any closing comments? I know we've kind of gone on here for 2.5 hours. So, actually,
Yeah.
my cousin is asking, how far should you stay from someone when driving a boat from a waiter? So, I would
As far as possible,
as far as possible is right.
if it's like there's just no way around it and there's people everywhere and you got to reset or you got to run, just just look at where you're going, pick out somewhere that that gives everyone as much room as possible, and get
At
away.
the end
And
of the
just
day,
be respectful of people.
it's safety is the first thing, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you don't want to ruin someone's fishing and kind of go over where
Pay
they're
attention
going.
to the direction
But-
people are fishing.
but
You know,
and
usually with the wind,
and that's
but
usually second, right? The first
Yeah.
thing is how can I get out of here safely without hurting any of
And
these
you
people?
don't always have to blow by people.
Yeah,
You
no.
can slow down and then kind of get past them a little bit and
Yeah.
give them some room before
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And that's why it's to me important as a waiter to, if you're gonna go on your own, is to wear something bright, because you might be going on a boat and you really can see something, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You might think it's a freaking
Marker.
palo or a marker or something. All of a sudden you're like, oh shit, it's a waiter, especially on tournament, because
Yeah.
they drop you off.
Yeah.
They're- we saw it that weekend we went. There was like one guy literally in the middle of
The
where everybody's
channel,
going
yeah,
by,
yeah.
and it's just like, damn, man, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
the fish
blocked
are
it,
there,
yeah,
but you're on your own. When
Yeah.
when it's me, at least I got my boat behind me,
Yeah.
they can see the boat.
Right.
And like, what happened to that guy? He's in El Monte.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely like safety needs to be everything over everything, right? And making sure like people stay safe and you don't do it, even if it means putting your boat in the sand or whatever,
Yeah.
right? If you're operating a boat, you need to be safe. And nobody's going
Yeah.
out there to try to hurt themselves or
a
get
boat
hurt.
can be replaced, a person can't.
Right. Yeah. So just having that mindset up there, and both, and as a waiter, you got to, as a boat operator, you got to be mindful of kind of where people are at,
Yeah.
and be cautious for them. As a waiter, you got to be mindful of too. You're not going to fish.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be wading across a gut that's the only entrance or where all the
Yeah.
traffic
Right.
that comes
Yeah,
in at to
you
a
know.
when
boat,
they
right?
anchor, like in the
Oh, yeah,
entrance
it
of
happens
Phoenix,
all the
it's like,
time,
bro,
yeah.
I don't mean to cut you out,
Yeah.
but
But
you're
that's
in the
the-
way.
you're in the
Like,
entrance,
come
They're
on.
right?
anchored in the East Cut, like in the channel.
Yeah.
And you're driving by and they're yelling at you. Freaking yeah, like, dude, you're in the intercoastal, like
Right.
intercoastal. Like, whoa.
Yeah, ain't much I can
Whatever.
do, man.
You know, but
I-
if you're waiting in open bay and some dude buzzes 50 yards to the
Yeah.
east of you, even if you're not fishing that way, that's a little close.
Yeah.
If you can give them a little bit wider berth. I would say 100 yards at least if you can give it
If you
to
can
'em.
give them right 100
Yeah.
yards, okay.
I'm not gonna get mad if someone buzzes 50 yards behind me unless I'm trying to reset or whatever. Someone buzzes 50 yards.
Well, if
in
I
front of
see
me,
either of you guys out there, I'm gonna go.
oh yeah,
close to you
he's
guys.
just gonna
This
go do freaking.
And I'm gonna do.
circles
I'm not.
around
I'm
or
gonna
something.
be.
He's-
I'm gonna be far enough where
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hurt you guys, but I'm
we're gonna be
be
fishing shallow. You won't make it.
Yeah, bro,
I've
we're
got-
going
I've got a-
way back there
I've
tomorrow.
got a skiff. I've got a
Ah,
skiff.
dang it!
Oh,
That's
you
true.
know, damn.
That thing can go anywhere with that
I
thing.
got a little Hell's Bay skiff, so I can get into
Damn.
some pretty
Forgot
shallow.
about
I'm-
that.
I don't
bro.
use it though.
I'm
so-
gonna just
bad.
be throwing my line across the top.
So,
Adios,
but
bro.
anyways, all right, guys. Any closing comments for our guys that stay tuned and kind of work through this?
Guys, if you're gonna go wade fishing, just have fun with it, enjoy it, learn it,
safe.
be safe, and
Stay
just have a
calm.
good time,
Have
man.
fun.
Yeah.
If it's your first time, go with mentality of learning how to wade. I'm here to catch fish, yes, but I'm gonna learn how to wade. I'm gonna
Go
have a
with
good
that
time doing
mentality
it.
every time.
And if you do that, everything is gonna come
Yeah.
coming good.
Yeah, I'm here to have a good time, and
Yeah.
if I
Always-
catch fish,
And
always
don't be
be a
afraid to
student.
ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Somebody that wade fishes that might be interested in helping you out.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's plenty of groups out there on Facebook, even our group, like on even on
Everybody can
Montgomery's
teach you
groups, like
something.
Montgomery. I mean, Montgomery's been both Montgomery and Victor. I'm sure Ted too is like they've been very open to it. I know
Yeah.
specifically on social media, you guys are actively engaged out there,
Yeah.
and so people ask questions and you guys give them.
I answer
your thoughts,
messages,
yeah.
I'll answer comments, ignore people. Unless you're asking me for coordinates or some stupid crap like that.
Oh, that's why you don't respond to my messages.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you gotta, anyways, but yeah, just, ask, always try to play the role of the student, even if you think, you don't, just always keep that mentality, always be learning, always be taking in all the information that you can, and, stay safe about it, stay calm. If something bad happens or if something exciting is happening, you're trying to land the fish of a lifetime, don't freak out. Don't stay calm. Don't try to forget everything and bear hug that fish and just do whatever you can to land it and this and that. And
Make sure you
Yeah.
turn your GoPro on.
yeah,
I was actually writing GoPro down right now.
don't forget to turn on.
Turn your
but,
GoPro on.
But yeah, man, you
I
got
love
that
making
fish of a
videos, man.
lifetime in front of you, and it's flopping around and going crazy trying to get away. Just keep the line tight, keep your rod bent. Don't try to tighten down on it too much. Don't try to horse it in. You get it in close and just stay calm. Try to do your best to stay calm and land it.
I do have a
Yeah.
YouTube video. It's under Victor Ramos, and most of my videos are gonna be wading.
Yeah,
So you get to see
I'm in some
as
of them.
a fishing, as the perspective of somebody fishing in the water. So if you want to take a look at those,
Actually, that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there like Victor and that have
Yeah.
that poster stuff out there, and maybe they're not as and not to say they can't be, but they're mostly like, hey, this is out where we're out fishing, and they're not kind of out there with the mindset of training people.
and
but
if you really look at the videos, Sometimes you can figure out where we at.
Yeah. It might be a video from like 2 weeks ago, but I mean,
But yeah, Victor always he won't share it until he knows like the
Fish are
bite's
gone.
gone,
yeah,
the
right.
fish are gone.
Yeah, we get to a new area, and it's like, all right, put up
Yeah,
that
now
old
we can put
video.
it, as long as the fish are biting there, he won't post it out
Yeah.
there. But definitely, actually, that's a good point. Watching YouTube videos of people wade fishing, you can learn a lot from
Yeah.
them. As well as kind of reach out to the audience
Be
here.
attentive though to anyone that is telling you how it is. If they're telling you it's this way, one way, or it's always this, or it's always that, or this and that, whatever, like just that guy, maybe isn't someone to listen to. Maybe pick up what you can off of him. There might be some value there, but anyone that's pretty much speaking in absolutes, like always use a weedless.
There is no absolute.
You always got to use
in
weedless.
life.
There's grass. You always got.
There's always a
No, you don't.
I had a guy, man, use a damn Striker King with the shit on top.
With the blade.
Dude, it was like grassy. I was like, bro, you're not gonna catch nothing with that. He shut me up.
Yeah,
I was like, that one. I was like, you have another one?
Yeah.
Dude, he just slammed the red.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow.
Like
They
one
were
of
full
those
of grass.
one of
The
those
whole thing
spinners.
was full of grass, but
Yeah.
it was like
Still,
it would hit, and as soon as you start moving it, it was just boom.
gone. It was gone.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, well, there it is.
Right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, definitely want to thank you guys for your time for coming out here. I know this went out, so hopefully,
Sorry, do you have a YouTube page or anything like that? Did
no,
you-
I don't. I don't post a whole lot of stuff.
yeah, he keeps his stuff secret, so he
Oh,
catches
yeah.
a lot of
No,
fish, that,
and
and,
it-
they win a
fishing
lot
for
of
money.
tournaments,
Yeah.
and so they win a lot of tournaments, and so
It's
so
not-
what?
It's not about being,
Just messing with you,
secrets
Dad,
or
yeah.
whatever. But I just I don't post a whole
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look on my Instagram, I started posting when we started doing lures.
Yeah.
I had a reason to.
Right.
Before that, it was like a good fish.
well, it depends what
or
you're
something
posting,
like
right?
that.
So a lot of the posts that we see here are fish, right? And that's one thing, right? But I think the
I post
transition
food too.
the transition that we're making here, you're trying to post content related to
Yeah.
helping people
Yeah, yeah.
improve their fishing,
100%.
right? And that's kind of the pivot, what we're doing here on our YouTube as well. So we'll take some of these samples here, or video clips specifically. I mean, took some notes where we talked about how to catch flounder, where we were looking at, and we'll make little clips on that. And that'll be pieces of content that we'll put out on Facebook, on Instagram related to that. It's not about, I mean, there's definitely no fishing here, but it's telling about people
Yeah.
how to, little things that they can do
Right.
that do improve their chances of becoming, or how to become better fishermen, or just kind of how we do things,
Uh-huh.
right? So
And
Just
another
go
kind of part
fish,
of it,
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm posting this and that, and if people have doubts, like you can't fake an Instagram full of pictures.
Yeah.
You can't fake that. You can try, you can put on different shirts or whatever else, but it's
That's
like,
not even true, bro.
Yeah.
I only
it's
did it
shirts and
once.
hats, shirts and hats.
bro.
If you really want to
switch
sell
up
it,
the buff, get all your sponsors in there.
Well,
bro.
not only that,
all the
like-
post stuff.
like
See
so
what you started, Sam?
he's got a razor too. And it's
Oh, yeah, he shaves the
See?
beard.
You
He's
do
got
it
a pair of
once, and they
clippers
think
and he
you do it
knocks
all
it
the
down.
time.
It was hot that
Yeah.
day.
I was
Yeah.
shaving. I was
mean,
shaving because it was hot.
Yeah, bro. He always keeps a razor just in case it gets too hot.
By
Leo
the way,
goes-
Sam, I need more
Leo-
shirts and hats.
Leo goes with him, cuts his hair, fades him up. But definitely, thanks guys
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate. I personally learned a lot in these 2.5 hours that we were sitting here talking about this. So so definitely, guys. I hope you guys got some value out of this. If you have any questions, continue to add them in the comments below. These guys will be happy to answer any questions you may have. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and to this video. So again, the idea is that we're gonna have a weekly
Yeah.
recurring show where we talk about fishing. So
Winter's coming. Blue crab's gonna be pretty
So,
good.
so actually, that's probably good. That's probably a good idea in terms of like the next podcast. We talk about winter fishing with it coming up here, and then talk about this and corkies and the different things that people fish in
Yeah.
the winter and
Slow
how.
down even more.
Yeah, slow it
Yeah.
down. So if you think you're going too slow right now, you're going too fast, right? So, but thanks guys for staying tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next video. So thanks a lot, guys.
Laters.
Hold it. Hold it.